Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hey, here we are, everybody. It's the ultimate Cleveland sports show. It's Brad, it's G, it's Jay. Wait, Jay's not here. It's an empty seat because somehow he got stuck in traffic. Who gets stuck in traffic in Cleveland? He's born and raised in Cleveland. There's really no traffic. Like, guys, how does he not know his way around on the street? If you get traffic in Cleveland, you get off the highway, you take the streets.
His cars are so expensive. He like Knight Rider. His car should talk to him. Jay, you do understand that there's traffic backed up. We should go another way. He's having a conversation with his car. I don't know how he got caught.
Yeah, he didn't use the street game. Street games, you're supposed to see when people are slowing down.
You gotta know it. Get off that exit.
Something is wrong.
Right?
Is there an exit by me?
Jay's not from the streets, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Jay's not from the streets. You don't know.
Brad, you gotta look like.
Hey, listen, you gotta have street game wherever you from.
Hey,
hell
no.
Listen, it's a lot going on in this world.
Man, I don't know, man. I think he just left his house late. Let's be honest. He left his house. He overslept. I don't know what happened.
But listen, man. He's usually good at it because he wears his same clothes. He got tearaways. Like he wears the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Greg Pruitt.
Yeah, tear that away. He be right in an anchor suit.
He Greg Pruitt.
Well,
Greg
Jay
Pruitt
will get here eventually, and eventually he'll join us to be part of this conversation, guys.
Greg Pruitt on TV.
But
should we lock the doors? Should we just make Jay stand outside all show?
Be like,
come on, man.
Put a broom between the doors?
Stop.
Yeah.
His key card is different.
That's true. He got the special access.
He got the special joint.
As G said before the show, he knows everybody in Cleveland, but he don't know the streets.
Not on the streets.
I know that guy. I had a conversation with that guy. All right, guys.
Let's do it.
A couple people that Jay doesn't know, I think, but he might. Brian Flores and Jim Schwartz are the two leading candidates for the Browns defensive coordinator position. Brian Flores and Jim Schwartz have both interviewed in the last 2 days. Jerod Mayo was expected to be interviewed at some point. That's now off the table because he is staying in New England as they officially bumped him up to defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Sean Desai, at this point, I don't think can be interviewed because the Seahawks are playing tomorrow. So they have to wait until after the Seahawks will probably be eliminated tomorrow. I think we all assume.
Yeah.
But you never know. In terms of the top two candidates, guys, you're not hearing a lot about Jim Schwartz, but you are hearing a lot about Brian Flores. Gee, I'll start with you. Are you getting antsy now that Brian Flores has left the building and is interviewing with the Cardinals, apparently, for their head coaching job?
Yeah, I'm getting real antsy, bro. I mean, the Cardinals is just as bad as we is. Like, the Cardinals will hire somebody on a whim in a heartbeat. So I'm, and I always want another person to progress. Like, I want you to be able to get another job. We talk about it all the time. There's not that many African Americans to get an opportunity. And for him to get an opportunity this quickly after, him saying, like, yo, the league is basically blackballing me and told me to lose games, sabotaged me, he's right back up again with the Cardinals. Man, I thought if this was going to be your top candidate, the Browns needed to make sure that they gave him a deal that he could not refuse. He's not getting on the plane, going nowhere. They should have put the same people that was in the building with Deshaun Watson when them tactics was going down and he got that 230.
Yeah.
They should have had that same negotiation team because you don't want to let him get out here and start filling the water. They start recruiting him, and all of a sudden his name is going to rise and he might get one of these head jobs.
So you wanted that same energy.
All of it.
That same energy. I was telling McNuggets before, I said, here's the problem, right? The league is already mad at the Browns for Watson.
Yep.
Right? Now you come back and you hire Flores?
I never thought about that. I never thought about that.
You got to have some stones on you, baby. You got to have some stones on you, baby.
I got to tell you, I don't think, like, people getting mad at the Browns for letting Brian Flores walk out the door. He was always going to walk out the door.
Oh, yeah, he's going to.
You don't think he knew that his agent's talking to these teams? Yeah. Of course he knew that at least somebody. And whether the Cardinals are going to hire him is not, or somebody else going to hire him is not, or not as a head coach, we don't know.
Yeah.
But he's never going to just take a DC job when there's still a possibility that he could get a head coaching job. So you could be mad about at the Browns for a lot of things, but you can't blame them for Brian Flores.
Well, no, I don't think nobody's blaming him, right?
Yeah.
I said that I think we were more so talking about the energy required to keep him here. Here's the problem. Here's the reality. Let me just give you the reality for Brian Flores, right? Dog, they're still mad at you.
Yeah,
There's some people around here still mad at you, right? They ain't like the way that went down. They did not, right? And so I saw this thing the other day, the Cowboys bringing Cowboys brought in Marvin Lewis for interview. You ain't hiring Marvin Lewis.
What, the Cowboys?
This is what.
A while ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not hiring Marvin Lewis. You know that. We know you're not.
Do you believe that Flores this is just a Rooney move?
Well, you know. Come on, they checking boxes here.
Yeah, they got to check boxes.
Because here, be straight up, he was on a rail out of town. He was almost out of here.
Yeah,
he was down to coach at high school.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I mean, because it wasn't like he came back to a DC position.
His boy saved him.
He's like,
Pittsburgh saved him.
They tucked him away.
Yep.
Right, here you go. Be cool, let it die down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he comes back. Now I'm just trying to figure out, is it the Cardinals that's really interested, or they just trying to fill some boxes, wait some time before they get who they really want?
I can't remember who else the Cardinals have interviewed. If they've interviewed any other black candidates, that would factor in. That is an unfortunate piece. Like, the Rooney Rule was put in place with a good intent.
Yeah. There was no
right?
question.
There's good intent.
No question.
But what has happened is now guys are getting used just to fill the box, right?
The box.
Now, in a way, there's even in that scenario, it does allow a coach who might not have gotten an opportunity to interview to get in front of a team, maybe impress that guy or somebody else, and maybe somebody else does hire that coach at another time. But the reality is, as I said yesterday, black coaches in the NFL are in a tough spot because they don't get the same opportunities. And so a black coach that gets offered a head coaching job is less likely to be picky because there's less opportunity.
You're right.
And so you're more likely to take a job that's not as good, and thus more likely to get fired because the situation's worse.
The Cardinals also interviewed Vance Joseph, by the way.
Okay.
So they have interviewed two black head coaches.
Okay, so that does mean they didn't have to interview.
Right. As long as it wasn't Jim Caldwell and Lovie Smith, because they be trying them in there like them as the token dudes.
I got to tell you, I've said
up.
for years I can't believe Jim Caldwell doesn't have a job. I always thought Jim Caldwell was a hell of a coach. He would, until this year, and the Lions still didn't make the playoffs. Jim Caldwell did good with the Lions.
Yeah.
Nobody else did anything with the Lions for 15 years. And he couldn't. And they should have never fired him. And I couldn't believe nobody. Now he's really old at this point.
Yeah, at this point.
But still.
Yeah, they're really checking boxes at this point.
But the bottom line is, I mean, if Flores doesn't get a head coach, obviously he's going to take a head coaching job, no matter what you offer him in DC,
there's no question.
as he should. And Arizona, even though I agree with you, G, they're a bad organization as well. It's not a terrible spot to be a head coach because you got Kyler Murray. I don't love Kyler Murray, but I like him.
Well,
and they were so bad this year that they probably can only go up from here.
They've got to mirror Kyler Murray with somebody, right? This not going to work, right?
I don't know if Brian Flores and Kyler Murray are the perfect combo.
But I'm only thinking like I think Phoenix is thinking, Arizona's thinking, right?
Yeah.
Because I got to get him under control because this thing last year, him and Kingsbury, that was out of pocket, right? And so it just is a bad vibe. Kyler Murray's going nowhere with all that money you gave him, so he's going nowhere.
And you think about it, that's the hard thing about when you get to give him the bag like that, because he got the bag now, and he got receivers.
Yeah.
You got DeAndre Hopkins, you got Hollywood Brown,
right?
You got a solid running game in Connor. Like, it's just, I don't understand. I'm not understanding why they
actually have good skill talent.
I don't know why they can't get over the hump. I don't think they, you know how they was talking about it. I don't know if they believe in him as a leader. Like, hey, guys, we got this. Like, we not playing
once
around.
That news leaked, remember before the season, and he had to study in his contract, like that makes everybody look bad.
Yeah.
It made the team look bad. It made him look bad. It probably soured the relationship.
It probably got
because
people fired.
Kingsbury came in there and he wanted Kyler Murray, so it seemed like they had a good relationship at one point.
Cliff and Kyler, little backstory. Cliff was the OC at A&M. He recruited Kyler Murray to Texas A&M. Those guys go way back.
Yeah.
He took the Cardinals' job. He took that job to draft Kyler Murray #1.
Right, but
those two were tight, and then it dissipated with everything else that transpired.
And I think Kingsbury's a joke. I mean, how that guy ever got a head coaching job in the NFL, I'll never know. He was terrible in college. What, he won one bowl game in college? He had a losing record. Have you ever heard of a guy with a losing record in college get an NFL head coaching job?
Man, he looked the part.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I see.
He had a losing record with Mahomes, by the way.
With Mahomes. With Mahomes. That's insane.
Like that has to be thrown in there. It's one thing to have a losing record. It's another thing to have a losing record with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
as your
but Mike,
quarterback.
even without Mahomes, which makes it worse, yes. Have you ever heard of a college head coach getting an NFL job with a losing record in college?
Never.
I don't think it's ever happened before that I can think of.
Never.
Yeah.
For me,
Well, I think Matt Rule actually had a losing record, but that's because he went 1-11 his first year in Temple.
yeah, he did go to Temple.
Yeah, but it wasn't like the cart. It wasn't like Kingsbury.
There's Jay. There's Jay.
Traffic man. How do you not know the streets of Cleveland? You're born and raised here.
Let me get my mic on first.
He couldn't wait to get you.
We were killing you for not knowing the shortcuts around town.
He's like,
No. See, this is the weirdest. So there's no snow downtown.
Right, none.
Nothing.
None on the west side.
But when you get to
I-77 north and south.
77 and
Because of
480.
snow?
Multiple accidents.
Really?
Absolutely. Well, if
That's
you live
crazy.
in Cleveland, this is something that you really have to kind of experience firsthand because
Crazy.
Yeah,
when
to the
people
east
tell
side
you
gets it worse, but I didn't.
worse,
Yeah.
480 was a parking lot.
Is that bad? I didn't realize.
It's
wow.
unbelievable.
Oh,
It is
wow.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's
Standstill.
crazy is as I'm coming in, I'm trying to keep my 40 to 50 yards
Yeah.
from any car in front of me, but the people behind me don't.
Right.
You know?
And then- right.
So I'm watching cars one after another go off 480. It's really, really bad on the
How
east
much
side.
snow you got?
It was icy
I'd
last
say
night when I left basketball. Mayfield
It's not so
Heights.
much the snow.
It
I
was
think we
icy.
got 4 inches in Chagrin, but it's the ice. Everything underneath the slush is frozen.
You see,
So what happens is if you don't know it when you slam on the brakes,
it's bad.
you're in the ditch.
So where were you at?
Well, I caught a big break, and I'm telling you because if I was about 5 minutes before it, I'd be in the gridlock stuck on 77. Those people aren't getting out for hours.
Oh man.
I have Waze, and Waze said we're rerouting you because there's a closure ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of those cars didn't know it. They were still in the two left lanes to get off 480 and to get on I-77. And I thought, well, maybe it's a single accident and it's not bad. But when Waze told me 77 was closed, I went far left lane and then inched my way to 176,
right.
and it was amazing. As soon as you get to that sort of demarcation line where you're west of 480,
Yeah. Gone. Clear.
nothing.
Clear.
It's funny. I had ice when I came out of my house this morning. My car was covered in ice.
Yeah.
But there was no snow, and the roads were
It's
completely
snowing
fine.
right now, and it's snowing heavily.
That's crazy.
Like visibility maybe 100 yards.
But nothing once you got downtown.
That's
Listen,
crazy.
as soon as I got to the 480-77 split,
Yeah.
which from doing this commute for 3+ years, that is the epicenter.
That's there. Right.
As soon as you get there and you start going east on 480, it's almost like you're going into a different country.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
incredible.
I mean, there's a lot. I remember that in Buffalo when they had a huge snowstorm. I know they had a huge snowstorm.
They're the same
recently.
way because it's the lake effect
Right,
there, too.
where there'd be like by the stadium, there was like 5 feet of snow, and my friend was living somewhere south or whatever, and he had like 2 inches.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that
It
happens
really
here,
is.
yeah. All
So
right.
my apologies. And the other thing too is when you come from the east, like it's 480 or nothing. You've got to go that
The
way.
West is
The
living
west,
on the
you've got
side
a
is
lot
so
of
much
different
easier
routes
to get around.
Yeah, if there's a road closure coming from the west, okay, I can swing up too. I can do. There's different back roads
Right.
you could take. When you got to go over the valley.
But you don't really have to go to Valley. You could get off of transportation and work your way back through the
No,
road.
Brad, I wish even
That's how I did
getting
it
to
today.
transportation
Yeah.
took me a half hour from my house. It normally takes me about 10 minutes.
That's
Now the
crazy.
roads were bad.
And now from
So everybody be
transportation,
safe out there.
Yes, please. If you're going out and you're particularly on the east side,
Don't go to the
the
east side if
roads
you don't
were
have
bad.
to.
don't do it. Don't do it. And what's so weird is, talk about different universes. The second you get downtown, there's no snow on the ground here.
Nothing.
There's no
Not an
snow
inch.
downtown.
Yeah.
So it's super bizarre. And I've learned that from living here.
Yeah.
The risk you run is if there's a road closure,
Yeah, you screwed.
You done?
you're kind of done. I didn't know. How do you come in? Because
Shoreline.
He lives
all
in
west,
Lakewood.
right?
Yeah, I live in Lakewood.
Yeah, so you never have to worry about
I don't
it.
even
I
touch
always
it no more.
I get on 90 most of the time. If there's ever any traffic on 90, where there rarely is at the time I drive in, then I take the shore
Now-
way.
now-
Although
now-
this
That's a
whole
nice-
nonsense about the shoreway being a speed limit of 35 is absurd.
Yeah, that's not true. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Why do they have that there?
I don't know why that is.
That's
Brad,
confused.
I had no idea.
looking to you.
Look at me.
We look like you made the
Mr.
law.
Government.
Come on, now, fix that. will ya?
Hey, now I did have to go.
Come out to the east side.
Going to Solon, I had to drop my wife off because she didn't have a driver's license.
Yeah.
In Solon.
Oh, gosh.
Listen.
That's deep
Yeah,
east side.
so that's east.
Death.
That's
They're
right next to Chagrin Falls.
You touch that bridge. I'm like, man, I'm still in traffic over here by Warrensville.
That's crazy.
Hey, Brad, how you doing over there?
So yeah, the big thing is if you are going out on the east side, just
be careful.
Be very
Avoid it
careful.
if you can.
And if you I-77 now it was closed northbound.
Yeah.
I don't know at what time it happened, but I know now it's also closed
goes
southbound.
yeah.
So both lanes are closed. And when you
Stay
get to
away.
that split, when you're coming under 480 and you can see 77 both ways, it's not just a parking lot. Literally, all 6 lanes are locked down.
Yeah.
They're not moving in
Nothing.
either direction.
Nothing.
That sucks.
Parking lot pit.
That sucks.
Nothing.
Yeah, I know.
All right, Jay.
it
So
could
we
be
were
worse.
talking.
Catch me up. Where are we?
We started a conversation about the DCs, the fact that Mayo now off the list. Sean Desai can't interview till next week if the
Right.
Seahawks, assuming the Seahawks get eliminated. Otherwise, he'd be
And I'm sure you mentioned the fact that Flores
is interviewing for the Cardinals
Head coaching job,
which, we started the conversation by saying, is this they're trying to check the box for the Rooney Rule? But it's not, because they did interview Vance Joseph already.
Right.
So they are legitimately interviewing him. But really the question is, are we panicking about this situation? I'm not.
Yeah.
Are you have a sense of panic about the situation?
Not panic, but concern. Panic would be like, oh my God, who are we going to hire?
Yeah.
Right.
There's going to be some other good names available that we don't know yet. Because
Right. Once you go through the first week of playoffs, some teams, obviously 7 teams or 6 teams are going to be out.
Yeah.
Maybe some new names in the mix.
So there'll be some new names that pop up. The only reason there's concern is because obviously Flores is going to be a hot commodity.
Yeah.
And clearly, if Arizona wants him, they can nail him today.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, for a head coaching job?
Yeah,
Sure.
like if he blows their doors off, then you can check his name off the list.
Right.
So I'm just a little concerned.
Jim Schwartz is not getting as much buzz as Brian Flores, obviously.
Right. And listen, if we got Schwartz, and I guess we all considered that would be the consolation prize.
Yeah.
I would love Schwartz.
He is
Outside of those two, though, I'm really concerned.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Schwartz is he's not as exciting as Flores because we know the track record that Flores is a big blitzer. Whereas Schwartz, the defense will have a more similar feel to this in style to what we've seen. However, the bottom line is with multiple organizations, and I know he wasn't the DC in Tennessee, but he was very involved in the defense as a senior assistant.
Right.
Wherever he's been, Tennessee, Buffalo, Philly, their defense is always good.
Yeah.
And if you
Joe
look
Woods had a good track record coming in too, though.
Right, but he hadn't been a DC. Joe Woods has only been a DC like a year or two before.
Joe had a
here.
top. Where'd they finish last year? Was it
last
number
year,
5?
His
was it
last
5?
year with the Niners?
No, the Browns.
I think it was 8.
I mean, he was a top 10 defense
Yeah,
for
I
sure. I
think
thought he
8.
was even higher than that.
It might have been.
Oh, you're talking about last
Yeah,
season.
last season.
I see.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
UCSS staff.
But if you look at
Will the Browns finish in total defense last year?
yeah.
Yeah, but total defense doesn't matter.
No,
That's
give us
not
a
an
couple
important
metrics.
Stat.
But I mean, it is kind of the metric. It's you can look for defensive efficiency. There's a lot of different things that
but
you
if
can
you look at some of
at.
the advanced stats on Jim Schwartz, 5 years in a row, his defense has been top 5.
Yeah.
Between Tennessee and Philadelphia, he was the DC when they won the Super Bowl in Philadelphia. So I mean,
that's strong defense.
I got if you end up with Jim Schwartz, I got no problem with that whatsoever.
What's the number, McNuggets?
They finished 5th last year.
That's what I thought.
In yards allowed. In points per game allowed, they were right in the middle. They were 14th, so right in the middle. Actually, they were better last year by less than 1 point. They had 21.4 points allowed last year. They were 22.4 this year, so 1 point difference.
Yeah.
And then in takeaways, they were much better last year.
You know, maybe the play bowl is you bring Schwartz in. It's Schwartz interview already? He was first, wasn't he?
He was Wednesday.
I know it seems like a panic move. I'd offer them the job right now.
Well,
I'd offer him the job right now.
I mean,
you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
If he does slip away and goes somewhere else, you see what's left.
What about when does the personality come in? The X and O's are fine.
That's very important.
I said,
That's
when does the personality equation come in here? Because
I don't know
we had people here that were non-responsive.
What is Schwartz's personality brand?
Yeah,
it doesn't really come to mind one way or the other.
I don't think he's a hard ass. I think he's even keel. But he comes across as a very knowledgeable X and O guy.
But he's not from the.
But he's not the
Stefanski nerd school.
And he's not.
No, he's not.
He's not uber aggressive. Like, the reason I like Flores is because he if I was a player and I played defensive end, I would want to play for someone like that. I would want to play for, because I would know.
It's attack.
It's attack, and I would know as a defensive end, I don't want to be dealing with one-on-one blocks all the time. I want to get home based on some schemes. Like, oh, snaps, we didn't even know they was coming from the outside. I want to get somebody that put me in those positions where I can be aggressive.
Let me ask you a question. Because you played on the defensive side of the ball, right? You know the game. You play for that type, or you play for Buddy Ryan?
Man, give me Buddy Ryan, bro. If you find me, if you
the one thing I remember about those Bears teams,
they loved Buddy Ryan.
They loved him, man, because
they carried him off the field.
They were like,
well, but then Buddy Ryan went to be a head coach and he sucked.
They sucked at that. But,
never had success.
Right, but at the DC,
my goodness,
because I always feel like players will emulate the people that surround them, right? So if the guy at the tip top is playing it even,
do you remember the documentary, the 30 for 30 that ESPN did on the '85 Bears, and Buddy Ryan and the whole relationship? I just remember a lot of those interviews. They talked to defensive players, and they literally talked about Buddy Ryan as if he was their father. They just absolutely loved him. But what we learned through history was, and I think a lot of that was, Buddy wasn't afraid to, not only in practices, but also in the media, kind of take shots at his own offense.
Well, he would be going at Ditka too.
Sure. And so Mike is watching the assistant. You know what it'd be the equivalent of? You give out all the presents on Christmas Day, and your kids are hugging your uncle because they like his presents better than they like yours. And you're now as the father, you're looking at your brother saying, okay, so you're going to try to come up in my own house.
Right.
And you're going to try to upstage me.
And that's what happened in Chicago.
And all of a sudden, once things started to go sideways,
it went sideways.
Ditka's gone, and Buddy takes the head coaching job in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Yep.
And oh my God, was that a disaster?
It was a mess.
You know, I look at it, when you can flip that switch and you can turn it over in your head. The coaches I played for, when I got recruited, I liked this guy named Ray McCartney, so I don't even know where you're at right now. Him and Coach Mullen, I loved them dudes so much because they had a mentality.
Where were they?
They went to Wake Forest. So
okay. They're the ones that were at OU and recruited.
Yeah, then they left to Wake Forest. Everybody got a bag. They ended, a couple years later, they won the ACC championship. I'm like, this is some crap. This is Wake Forest. But I love them dudes so much because they only cared about results, bro.
Right.
They would be like, listen, man, we're not trying to. We know you know how to get in your gap. We don't want gap players. We want playmakers.
Yeah.
Everything was about bonus points. He said, man, if you in your gap, that's bare minimum. That's like saying, you know what, I work hard. That's why I don't like when Stefanski says we're going to work hard. That's a prerequisite to be even in the show.
There's a skill set to making a player reach maximum potential.
Yes,
it is.
Say that again.
There's a skill set to making a player reach maximum potential.
That's really what coaching is all about.
Well, Kevin Stefanski did a great job of that with Baker Mayfield.
Oh, that's fire.
He did, and he did a great job of that with Jacoby Brissett, which, by the way, I know we didn't talk about it on the show, but did you see what Jacoby did when he was cleaning out his locker?
What did he do?
He left jerseys with signed messages on them behind for several players.
Yeah, that's good.
Which, wow. And that goes to talk, he is a champion person. And I hope and I think he's going to do okay this offseason. I think he's going to get a job.
He about to be a general manager. I like everything he made up of. Like, he got that thing where people respect him. He the dude that come in the building and you respect his whole situation.
Right.
Because, like, think about it. They respect him so much. They got a $250 million dude in Deshaun Watson, and Coach Stefanski still puts him in the game to just run sneaks.
Yeah.
Now guess what? Anybody could run a quarterback sneak. But he does that because he has an affinity towards that would never happen nowhere else. And I give him credit for it. He gonna get an opportunity to try to start somewhere. But I just like his leadership style. He gonna be a GM.
He will get he actually will after this year. I think get a chance because there's enough teams with bad quarterback situations. He'll probably get a chance to start somewhere else. But getting back to the GM for a second, or the GM, the DC. I do think we have to realize that we've all gotten hot and bothered by Brian Flores right now, right? And I get it. I'm in the same boat. But the reality is that with the Browns, it's nearly impossible to give them the benefit of the doubt because usually they get it wrong when they hire somebody.
Right.
But the reality is none of us know for sure who the right choice is for DC.
It's a guess.
Flores is just a sexy name right now. But I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. When the Bengals hired Lou Anarumo, I said, who the hell is this guy?
Right.
And now he's one of the best DCs in the league. Doesn't mean that doesn't mean the Browns are going to get it right.
You're right.
It doesn't, but it also doesn't mean if the guy is not a big name, it doesn't mean.
But I
it's
think the
wrong
Browns
guy.
have to take into account. I saw Jimmy Donovan's rant the other day.
Yeah,
I was going to check that out.
It was a good point.
It was spot on.
I loved it.
It was spot on.
He basically said it's time for this organization to pull back the curtain. Let the fans know what the hell's going on.
What are we
They
doing?
don't give you any answers.
They give
on
us
anything.
nothing.
What are we
it's
doing?
almost
What are we doing
like
here?
they're like some sort of secret operative
And
government.
Jimmy's one of theirs.
And we understand.
Yeah, so it's really strong coming from the play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
Because it was critical.
Yeah.
Jim he nailed it with that take. He's 100% right.
Yep.
We all understand there's plenty of things that the team's got to keep secret. We all get that.
Sure.
Everybody. But you got to let us in a little, especially when everybody's angry. Take us inside a little.
Well, I don't know. I'm just going to guess. I haven't talked to Jimmy about this.
Yeah.
I retweeted it.
Yeah.
And it got a lot of traction, a lot of response on. I don't know if Bally was the one that tweeted it out first for his Browns Red Zone show.
Yeah.
But I read a lot of comments on feedback on it, and one of the things that I saw was a lot of organizations don't let the fan base in, and I get that. That's true. That is to your point, Bull. Yeah, you're not going to tell them everything. However, I do think, and I'd like to talk to Jimmy about this because I don't want to put words in his mouth, but as I was watching it, I was saying he is getting at the D Podesta. I think. My take was he wants to know more information about what the hell Paul D. Podesta does.
Well, it's because you're losing. You don't find out anything from Belichick, but he's winning.
Sure.
But I guarantee you in Boston, no matter how long Belichick won for it, he did, all of a sudden, the last 3 years, they look like a run-of-the-mill
They're
organization.
like a 500 team without Brady.
There's some people that are going to start being getting ticked at Belichick. But the better your team is, the less the fans care about things like that.
Sure.
If the Browns won 12 games this year,
Do your business and do it in secrecy.
We don't care.
The problem is they don't win 12 games.
That's right.
Right. So it's fair for Browns fans to wonder why are the keys to the franchise in the hands of a former baseball GM? That's just fair.
The two front men that come, the front men that come out, they give you these generic answers. I can't even listen to it.
Get frustrated.
I can't listen to this anymore.
Well, I'll tell you this. 48 laws of power. You always say less than you have to.
And that's fair.
When you say less than you have to, we have to do this because now everybody's insulated. We can't go to D. Podesta and say, you got to be held accountable because we don't know what he does. We can't go to Stefanski and be like, you know what? You need to be held accountable because we don't know if you got power. We don't even know if Barry.
At some point, you got to give him a little bit more than the same line you gave me 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Yeah. At some point, you got to just give it a little bit more. You got to give me the whole thing.
The fact of the matter is, after a one playoff season, this team has woefully underperformed.
Yes, it has.
They've been under 500 both of the last 2 years. And at some point, the fan base is going to get restless. You can't lose sight of this. They're the reason you're here. In business, in general, one of the first rules of business is your customer is your lifeline.
Right.
Without your customer, you don't need to be here.
And the Browns have taken advantage of the fact
that we're loyal.
To a fault.
To a fault.
Yes.
We are loyal to a fault.
Right.
I have friends around the country that watch the pain that I go through every fall. And they're like, bro, why are you doing this to yourself? There's 31 other teams that really know how to put together a winning team. This is self-inflicted, but you're a masochist.
Yeah. Right.
That they look at me like that.
The fan and that's why the Guardians generally and certainly the Cavs treat their fans much better than the Browns do.
Right. And by the way, the Browns treat their fans as well as they have to.
And by the way,
and that's our fault.
Yeah.
That's on the fans.
Yes.
We keep coming back for thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yes.
a lot of people treat people bad. They shouldn't. They take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And right now, in the education system, colleges do the same. Why not switch it up and go to Tri-C?
Yeah,
That's a great
everyone
point.
does
Nice.
except
Great
Tri-C. And our
point.
Browns Talk today is sponsored by Cuyahoga Community College. Tri-C supports their students financially, professionally, personally, opening up doors to endless possibilities. Tri-C is where the future starts. It starts right now. I think Paul DePodesta may need to go to Tri-C. That's January 17th,
That's so
2023. And let's welcome in our man, DeQuell Jackson, joining us from the bluest state in the country, Florida. And when I say blue, I don't mean Republican.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I just
it's
mean-
definitely not a blue state.
He needs a white balance.
Whatever reason, there's a turquoise rug in the room. DeQuell looks a little blue, but we still love DeQuell.
Yeah,
Blue,
what
whatever.
can you do?
What's up, DeQuell?
I'm blue. Remember that
What's going
awful
on,
song?
fellas?
Look
All
at
right,
you,
hey,
DQ. What's
happy
going
Friday,
on?
Probably doing some
happy
push-ups.
Friday the 13th to you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I
What you doing,
appreciate it.
some-
Yeah,
what you
I'm
doing,
sitting
some
here
vertical push-ups?
back in Clearwater, Florida. Staying at the beach right now.
Of course.
Tonight I'm actually getting honored and being inducted to my high school Hall of Fame. So
Oh my
Let's
God, that's
go.
awesome. Hey,
Let's go, DeQuell.
That's the best
what
feeling.
high school did you go to?
So it's called Seminole High School. So it's,
Oh,
it's
I remember
multiple.
Seminole well.
Oh, still,
There's
good.
multiple Seminole High Schools throughout Florida. It's not the one in Sanford, Florida.
Okay,
but
right.
the one
Well,
in
No,
Nellis County.
so what year did you graduate?
2002.
2000. Then you know what? I watched you play high school football, and I'm just now learning that. But I
There we go.
worked at ABC in Tampa from '98 to '03.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. So I was the
Oh,
sports
my
director
God.
there. So I was out covering high school football for my 5 years there, and you all didn't you have a legendary coach?
Yeah, so he had been around forever.
Yeah.
You could be mistaking us with Braden and South, the East Seminoles. They were really good. They had
No, I remember
okay.
you guys had a baseball player that was the number 1 overall pick.
Yes. We have multiple. My junior year and his senior year, my high school had probably like 10 or 12 guys. Like maybe 3 guys go first round.
Yeah.
Multiple guys went within the first 3 rounds. No, I went to every baseball game
Yeah,
in
it's a
high school.
crazy
Those
baseball
guys
program.
Didn't lose. They didn't lose all year.
But
and
your
a lot of
football
guys
program was good too.
Oh yeah. So Sam Roper, he's actually getting inducted tonight as well.
Oh,
so
good.
he's been a legendary coach for God knows how long, and he just retired maybe 2 years ago. He had been there since 1985. So I mean, it was only right.
By the way,
They include.
you guys are talking about football and baseball. The first thing I think of with Clearwater, being on Clearwater Beach, because I've been there a number of times, is like all the good breakfast places that I've got.
There are a lot of good
I'm thinking of
breakfast
all the
Great
food.
food.
Great food on Clearwater. You got the little aquarium right there. Remember going to that?
Oh, yeah.
I love
Oh, yeah.
Clearwater Beach because that's where the Phillies had their spring training. So I've been there many times.
Yeah.
But where are you going to eat
Jay,
tonight?
Jay, you may know the name Casey Kochman. Casey Kochman
Casey
played
was
in
the
Cleveland.
he was the number 1 overall draft
First
pick.
baseman, right?
Yeah, we went
Seminole
to
High
high school
School.
together.
Bull,
He's
this
my-
kid
we
in
went to high school.
this kid in high school was like Mike Trout.
He played in the big leagues, didn't he?
Yeah, of course he did.
For the
Yeah.
Angels,
Yes,
right?
Casey Kochman. He was the number 1 overall draft pick.
Yeah.
This
Yep.
kid in high school, I think he hit like 650
he
his
was
senior year.
Oh, God.
Just
Yeah, it was
insane.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
So the crazy story about him, when we would all be out on the weekends, because his father was a professional.
His scout, wasn't he?
He was a scout. And every time you would see Casey and his father, because they lived literally a block away from the baseball diamond. They would be out there taking BP all
Every
day.
day.
So you knew Casey was going to be what he was every day, every night, consistently. And he had a great professional career. And he lives right down the street here. So, but he's a really good friend of mine.
That's
I thought
awesome.
you would remember him.
There are so many great athletes from that part of the country. Well, first of all, congratulations.
Yeah.
Enjoy the evening. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun for you. Let's start with our 2022 Browns recap. I want you to give your report card. Start overall, what the Browns' overall grade is, and then grade Kevin Stefanski, and then the offense and the defense.
I don't know if we have enough time for all of that, Jay, but I'll try. Overall, I think this team definitely underachieved in every aspect. To put a grade to it, I would say this team, and I'm being, let's say, a C minus.
Okay.
I'll give them a C minus for a grade, because I think for what Kevin Stefanski was able to do with an offense with a quarterback that really a lot of people didn't give a lot of credit to, didn't know he was going to play as well as he did. I thought he managed that position okay.
All right.
But on the defensive side, we've talked about it ad nauseum. Joe Woods, I know he's not there anymore. He was released a day after the season. Definitely that side of the group underachieving. If they played marginally better, this team could possibly be playing for a playoff spot. 2 or 3 games. I go back to the Jets game, beginning of the year. The defense lost that game. So, and then special teams just completely fell apart. You got to, and Prefer is still there for whatever reason. But overall, I give this team a C-. As far as Kevin Stefanski, he's right up there. I give him a C- as well. And I think only because he was I'm sure he was heavily in the mix with bringing Deshaun Watson over from Houston. I feel like that's the only saving grace. Listen, I don't want to seem like I'm defending Kevin Stefanski. I'm with Bull. I'm done defending this guy. Yeah. There's nothing to defend. I'm over that. But
he's still here. Don't worry.
He was heavily involved in the Deshaun Watson bringing him over, and I think they couldn't rip the cord right away. So I think you got to give him another year. Now this year, if he doesn't prove that he could take this team over the hump, he's got to go. No doubt, he's got to go. And as far as next steps, as far as what this team needs, definitely they let 2 guys just walk out of the building. That I know you guys were talking about it briefly. Those are 2 guys that have former head coaching experience that have a personality. And I think I heard you guys talk about Jim Schwartz in terms of
what's his brand.
So I never played for Jim Schwartz, but I've spent some time around him. He's a no-nonsense guy.
Okay,
and
good.
If anybody can come in and light a fire up under anyone's tail, it's him. He's a no-nonsense guy. You either love him or you hate him. But he's gonna push guys. No matter if you're Myles Garrett or a guy off the street, he's gonna push you. He's gonna be the same way. So again, I go back to, I heard Brad say this earlier. It's about personality. Who can motivate these guys? Who can you bring in to get this defense to play up to their potential and far exceed it? And I think that, man, if it would, I don't know. I don't know who's out there. I don't know. I mean, Brian Flores and Jim Schwartz, I like them. I like Brian Flores, his scheme, but I don't know him well enough to know if his personality will be able to galvanize guys. Be able to say, Kevin Stefanski needs a guy that he can close his eyes and say, you know what, you run the defense. I don't need to walk in the meeting room. I know you're going to handle it, and you're going to make me look good. I don't know what other guys could potentially come available at this moment, but the name that comes to mind to me, he's secure in his spot, and he's probably going to get a head coaching position somewhere, is former player, defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. I think he's the hottest on the market.
Yeah.
DeMeco Ryan.
Yeah, he's not coming here.
By the way,
he's not coming. He's
real
not
quick,
making a
Casey
lateral
Coxman
move.
played for the Indians in 2012. I forgot.
Sure did.
Briefly.
Yeah.
Hey, DQ, let me ask you a question. I'm going to go back to Flores, right? My question to you about Flores is this. It always struck me strange when the thing jumped off in Miami with Flores, right?
Mm-hmm.
The players didn't never really pop up to prop him up.
Yeah.
What's that say?
It says they're a slave contract. That's what that is. Be who you can afford to be. And a lot of guys weren't in a position. They should have took this moment as a guy that, he's a head coach. He obviously is about accountability, obviously, because he basically put his career on the line for his integrity. Right. And if I were a coach, if I were on that team, obviously, if I'm a veteran at a point where I was in the middle of my career, where I had a good hold of my career where I was, I would have undoubtedly defended this guy. But you're right. There wasn't a lot of talk about players defending him and defending his credibility.
I don't even remember people saying he was a good man. Right.
Well, I wonder, Brad, is that because, and DeQuell, maybe you know this, the way he handled Tua, after they're basically saying that he wrecked Tua, wrecked him, and that essentially what we're seeing from Tua now is a result of a reclamation, like a rebuilding of Tua and his confidence. And I know that Miami is limping right now, but that's because Tua's been out. it's almost what's happened in Miami this year has almost been a referendum
against Flores.
Against Flores,
right? That's why
he's
I
not
asked
an
the
offensive
question.
guy. He's
But
not
they
an
won
offensive
less
guy.
games this year than they did last
No,
year.
but I'm going back to. I'm going back to.
Once Tua went out, they're completely. What are they without Tua? 0-5.
The Quill, I'm going back to your thinking about the personalities, right? Because there's certain things, right? There's a way to say that's a good dude without me jumping in your argument over here with him and his match against the Dolphins, right? Somebody, I don't recall anybody ever saying that's a good man. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, I like, okay, well, the signs of life that I'm looking for, maybe I missed them, but I didn't see them. So maybe when we thinking over here about Flores, maybe it's not a good fit. Maybe he wouldn't be a good fit here. I don't know.
Do we not know that maybe some of the Dolphins players, who none of us will be following on Twitter, maybe they did say something on Twitter?
Well, I know, but I mean, even in the national media, it wasn't like there was a rush to come out and say, what is going on here? And remember, he was just 2 games under 500 when he was let go. Now, there were a lot of people around the league saying, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
He gets 2 years and he's basically at 500. Coaches, if you're in that realm, you always get a 3rd year.
Right.
And so I think what's interesting is the Dolphins had sort of been of the mindset that Tua is not the guy. And the owner, Stephen Ross, said, no, he is the guy. And so they run Flores. And then this year, without Tua, the Dolphins are 1-4, and their only win was a 9-6 win in Week 17 against the Jets.
But don't you?
With Tua, they're 8-3 or 9-3.
Flores was there 3 years, by the way.
Was he there 3 years?
Yeah, the first year was 5-11. Was the year we're talking about that he was supposed to tank? Remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Then he went 10-6. Then he went 9-8.
So when do coaches get fired after putting back-to-back winning seasons
they didn't
together?
go to the playoffs, but
so what? 10-6, 9-8.
To his defense, what if he was right? The knock against Tua for me is he's slight, he's smaller, and he's injury prone.
Yeah.
So,
but I think there's 2 things here, G. I think it's fair to say, like, I'm not a huge believer in Tua that he can sustain success. However, it seems from an outside view that Flores didn't handle that situation great.
No,
because he didn't give him the chance to have the best success because he was taking him out of the lineup. It was clear that he didn't believe in him. Like, he was your quarterback for that. Even if you don't believe him, you got to make him think you do.
I'm not sure. Chan Gailey, I believe.
Okay.
I'll double check on that, but I believe Chan Gailey.
For all 3 years?
Give me 1 sec. I'll confirm.
Because I'm saying, I'm not, listen, I love the success Tua had this year. Obviously, I root for anybody that had all the expectations coming in and kind of underachieved. And I agree with you guys. Brian Flores was like, yeah, you potentially almost ruined a really good quarterback because he had success this year. But I'll go back to, this is almost similar to the Kevin Stefanski situation, right? Like, Brian Flores is a defensive guy. And if Chan Gailey was, he's a reputable offensive coordinator, then that's kind of, and you would think he would be a guy that can identify talent. If it didn't work out with Chan Gailey, man, that's I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
And by the way, it was Gailey the last 2 years was the offensive coordinator. And, yeah, you're right. I mean, typically his reputation is he's going to get the most out of guys. And, Tua's a tough study because he's been 2 different guys in the league. And I will also have to mention that they gave him some really nice pieces this year.
I mean, he got Ferraris, Jaguars.
Yeah, they gave him some really nice pieces. And it only stands to reason that the offense improved.
Right.
He's 1 hit away, and I hate to say that.
I
see Steve Young. He is 1 hit away from them taking his helmet and say, "Listen, you can't do this no more."
Right.
And it's a shame.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen that.
You know why, G? Remember what happened with Tua early in the season when he fell to his knees and he got up and they played it off like, it was a back, it wasn't a head. That was the managed problem.
Right. And anyone with the Bengals the next week.
Yeah, anyone with 2 eyes know, like, that was something more. There was something more to that than just a back.
And then a couple of weeks later, when he actually gets the stiff arm after the hit.
No, that was the next week.
That was the very next week.
That was the
next
week. I thought it was the next game he played.
No, that was the next
He
week.
did not miss a game after that first hit.
No,
he came
he
back
played
and
against the
everything
Bengals.
Even worse.
He played the Bengals
Right.
the next week, and that's when it happened.
The Bengals had the all-white uniforms.
And then Tyreek Hill said he gonna go to his house, knock on his door, and say, "Hey, you playing this week?" No, that ain't the way it's working.
Tyreek Hill's not the sharpest dude.
I know. I mean, like he said it with a straight face. I'm like,
Great
this,
player.
we get into the but that's the problem. If you got a quarterback like this, right, and you like, all right, can I win with this? Yeah, I can win. I can get to the playoffs. But I need a quarterback that's gonna make some sort of.
You done messed me up when Tyreek Hill said he going to his house.
He said he's going to his house.
But I want to get back to the DC
I'm
for a
messed
minute.
up now.
Is there a guy? Obviously, you played in the league a long time. Is there a guy that comes to mind that maybe coached you, or maybe you played with somebody who's a coach now that maybe a guy we're not even talking about that you think might be a good person to be the Browns DC?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it maybe a few weeks back. It was a guy named Billy Davis. He was the linebackers coach for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
When I tell you, I've learned more football from him in 2 years than I ever have throughout my entire career. And he's a guy that has a personality. Mm-hmm. He can relate to everyone. He can motivate everyone, and he feels like one of your guys. And before his stint with the Arizona Cardinals, he was with the Ohio State Buckeyes. So he's been around forever. He's had
Billy Davis. Is he still in Arizona?
No, because they released they fired the head coach. I'm sure everyone's in flux right now.
Yeah.
So
Billy Davis, Cleveland, reach out to him.
So he was a defensive coordinator under Ken Wisenhunt years ago with the Arizona Cardinals. He was linebacker coach for Cleveland. He's held multiple defensive coordinator positions, but he's never really had a moment to climb the ladder to have his name mixed from to a head coach. But in terms of personality and X's and O's, attack style defense, motivator, all those things, he's definitely a guy that flies under the radar that people don't really talk about, that I had a ton of respect for and success with, honestly.
I don't know why this name popped in my head. What if they brought Marvin Lewis in for an interview as a defensive coordinator?
I mean, he hasn't been a DC in like 25 years, though.
Yeah, I mean, he was.
How old is Marvin?
He's probably in his 60s.
I mean,
is he even still coaching?
Wasn't he coaching? Wasn't he like working on a college staff or something, or no?
I
can't remember.
Yeah, I haven't.
Google him once.
Marvin Lewis was a special advisor on Herm Edwards' Arizona State staff.
Okay, that's
he's also 64. Will turn 65.
Yeah, it's a little.
Season.
Yeah, that's.
Although Jim Schwartz is not that young either.
Yeah, I can't think of young.
No, that's true.
Huh.
I like the guy in Denver, DeQuell. Avijo Abero. I know he's got a couple head coaching interviews, but he did a hell of a job in Denver defense this year, where their offense was abysmal.
Yeah, but if he's the DC in Denver, how could he leave?
Well, because their head coach got fired.
But if he has a contract with them, I don't know what his contract.
What are the
they might want to keep him.
Yeah, I know a lot of the position coaches are year to year with their contracts, but the coordinators usually have.
That guy from Denver? Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying is Denver may say to the new head coach, hey, whoever we love you, but you got to keep this guy from DC.
Or Denver may say, we love him so much he's our head coach.
Right, that could happen.
He did interview for the head coaching position, but he turned down the interim tag. He didn't want to be the interim head coach when they fired Hackett, and then he did interview for the full-time gig.
Okay, that's really interesting.
There's Vic Fangio.
Yeah, Vic Fangio's out there, too.
Yeah. I want the next Bill Belichick.
Sean Payton said he's going to bring Fangio with him, by the way.
What'd you say?
What's that?
Sean Payton already said Vic Fangio is going to be my DC wherever I go.
Well,
he's already put his staff together. He doesn't even have a job.
They're going to bring Tom Brady to the Saints, right?
That's the rumor. The rumor is that Peyton's coming back to the Saints and he's
find
Brady
me Mike
with him.
Singletary. Where he at? Find where he at?
Mike Singletary.
No.
Wait,
Hey,
can't win with him. Can't do it.
Tell me that story, Janelle. Give me that story. You can't say no like that. Now give me a story.
Can't win with him. Can't do it.
I love the guy as a player. I love what he stands for. I love everything about the human being. But as a coach, he will run your defense into the ground. No one wanted to play for this guy because he's so old school.
Yeah.
Like he would break every rule set up to protect the well-being of the players. There's no way players will play for him.
Oh my God.
Full contact 3-a-day.
Full contact every day in the meeting room. It is not happening. I love the guy, but he's just he's old school, baby.
Old school.
I love it, but
I think in general, it's very rare. It's very rare in any sport that a Hall of Fame caliber player is a good coach or manager.
You're right. You're right.
Very rare.
Yeah.
Hey,
Like even Mike Vrabel is a good player, but like how many Hall of Fame players have been great coaches and managers?
Mike Ditka was a Hall of Fame player and won a Super Bowl.
And
Larry Bird was Larry Bird. Larry
Bird was interesting. Larry Bird had some success as a coach and as a general manager.
Yeah, like
But
it was weird.
Never broke through and won a title.
Never won a
Magic
title.
Johnson, abysmal as a coach.
Yeah.
What did he do? He lasted 9 games.
Isaiah Thomas.
I'm out of here.
Pat Riley.
Isaiah Thomas.
Pat
terrible.
Riley.
But he was
Pat Riley was a fringe player.
Okay.
He did win a
Fringe
championship, but as a fringe player.
Rudy Tomjanovich, fringe guy.
Yeah, got punched in the face, and that was
Like,
thing.
look at the best manager. Terry Francona was a pinch hitter, basically.
Yeah,
He's stupid.
yeah, it's
He's
really tough.
But the stars being
Pete
good
Rose,
players.
you know what? Pete Rose wasn't a bad manager.
What you mean?
No, he was
Yeah,
not a
that's
bad
true.
manager.
Except
Until he
for
started betting on the games.
except when he started doing like this.
Yeah, I'm taking the under,
me
man.
this
I'm throwing
shit.
big
Give me
today.
the
I'm
under
throwing
on
a,
this.
I'm throwing a my
Yo,
ace
Vito, 500 on the Reds.
For the clubhouse phone.
Hey, somebody should have told him that
No,
during the legal
wrong.
in Ohio back then, was it?
He did always bet. I thought it was ironic that he placed the first legal bet in Ohio.
Hey, Jay, for the clubhouse phone, you walk over there and pick up the clubhouse phone. All right, because that was before the cell phone. All right, now you know.
Not a coach, but I got a football player that we all know well who was a great GM.
Who's that?
Great player, great GM.
John Lynch.
Lynch.
John Lynch,
Ozzie
absolutely.
Newsome.
Gotta be
the
Ozzie
greatest of
Newsome.
all
Ozzie
time.
Newsome,
He's
right.
the greatest
Ozzie
of all time. There it is.
Yeah, no doubt.
One of the best
No doubt.
players ever, and one of the great GMs.
DeQuell, you want to coach?
You know what? I'm actually meeting with the head coach from Maryland actually later today to talk about potentially getting back into it. So yeah, and I actually
And you tell Loxley I sent him a message, right? I did
Hey,
him a
listen,
I
hey,
did, you
DeQuell,
tell him
that would
today,
be a-
seriously, I did him a favor. I DM'd him with something, all right?
okay, all right.
That would be DeQuell. That would be a great place to start because expectations, although they're rising in Maryland, you've got other horses in there. Whatever success you have automatically rubber stamps you towards better jobs and they're on the rise, man.
You tell
Yeah,
Loxley
listen,
to go see Cheyenne. Go see Cheyenne. And He'll know
Yeah,
it.
but we don't want to lose DeQuell from the show, selfishly.
No, he'll still do the show, of course.
No, I still do the show.
All right,
yeah,
good.
I ain't stopping that.
I love this.
And you know,
Love you guys so much.
And you know, Tua.
I think DeQuell would make a great coach.
You know,
I really do.
you know, Tua's brother signed a 10-year contract with Maryland. He's been there forever. You gotta stop. He got a deal. That ain't NIL. They
He
signed
could
him
ball,
to a
man.
10-year.
Talia could ball.
Listen,
He's
they got it.
35. He should.
Well, I think he's 45.
How you
Hey,
the
listen,
oldest younger
He
brother?
graduated high school the same year DeQuell did.
You got jokes.
Why y'all on that boy, man? Why y'all on
Yeah,
him?
I like his tag.
Hey,
but he's a
McNuggets
official
is
Hall of
working on his
Famer.
jokes for his comedy stint.
I like that too.
I do have to do a stand-up routine
Yeah.
DeQuell. You may or may not catch a stray in there. I'm just telling you right now.
Are we doing headlines
Yeah,
with
I-
DeQuell?
We are gonna do
know
headlines
this.
with DeQuell. Before we do headlines, we had Bernard Pollard on earlier this week, who was awesome, by the way.
yeah.
I know
He's
I
great.
texted you about any stories, and you didn't know him personally. He said he didn't know you personally, but it's always cool when we hear the mutual respect between players who played in the same era who don't know each other. I mean, when I texted you, you said he was one of the hardest hitters in the league, always respecting his game. He had the same thing to
Feared
say
man.
back about you. It's just cool to see that when guys don't know each other who maybe we bring together through the show. It's just kind of a cool moment.
Yeah, I agree.
McNuggets, you didn't know? All black people know each other. I know.
All y'all cousins.
Oh, we like
That's my cousin.
my grandmother's second cousin, twice removed, DeQuell. We all went to I saw him at the family reunion in Alabama. What are you talking about?
With
By
some,
the way, you say all black people know each other.
we all get an invite to the family reunion.
I say all Jewish people know each other. There's less of us.
Well, me
that's
and
really
Bull-
all
me
know
and
each
Bull
other.
do
That
know
is
each other,
facts.
so-
That is true.
I've had a number of people say, I knew a Jewish guy in high school. His name was like I would know him.
Yeah.
This random Jewish guy in Ohio.
Bull does not get the mailing letter,
Oh.
and you do have a paper.
We do. The
By the
Jewish
way,
News.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, McNuggets, let's do headlines.
All right, DeQuell, we're going to include you in this little segment because you are on this list. To give people a context of what's going to happen, we did headlines every Friday for 17 weeks of the season. And we funneled them down to our 3 favorites, and we're going to put it up to a vote. Now, for the record, all 4 of you are excluded on the panel from making the final 3.
We can't vote?
No, you're going to vote on the winner, but we didn't want you guys voting on yourself. There was not enough people. So these are from people who are not you 4.
Are we basing them on how funny they are?
Just your favorite. It's just your favorite.
But is whether
accuracy?
Does accuracy matter?
No, just your favorite headline.
Okay,
your favorite headline.
All right.
So this is not. This is honorable mention. Anthony did a phenomenal job making these all season long. So Anthony wants to put his favorite.
Yeah, he did.
So this was Anthony's
Great
favorite
job,
that he made. Browns, March of the Penguins. Browns get
that
waddled.
That was Brad,
up.
wasn't it?
No,
that was Anthony.
That wasn't me.
Oh, that was Anthony.
Browns get wiggled.
That was Anthony's production one. So shout out Anthony for making these. Phenomenal. That is not up for the vote. The next 3 are the 3 that me, Anthony, and Earl agreed upon were 3 favorites, not from you guys today.
Yes.
We're gonna vote on a winner, just like the NBA All-Star Game. There's a fan vote, so the poll's going up on YouTube, and there's a vote from you guys.
Okay.
The first one up for contention. Let's take it, Steve. Kicker saves sinking ship. Cade York late field goal puts Browns over Ravens. This is from Tyvis.
Life was good back then.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Accuracy 0 out of 10. Creativity very high.
If he had used that against the Panthers, then it would have been appropriate.
Hey man, can you imagine? Do you know how high on the horse we was after the Panthers game?
Yeah.
We was feeling ourselves pause. We was feeling ourselves something fishes. We was out here just dapping it up. The kicker was
Everything was good.
Everything was good. Man. And then the Jets game happened.
Yeah, but really, we should have known better. I mean,
we
Baker really brought the Panthers back to take the lead in that game. That game was an L. Go back to the postgame show.
Right. That was
Bull almost stroked out.
I did.
Yeah.
That game was an L, and the reason it was an L was because Baker brought them back.
Right.
It was crazy.
And then somehow this team grabbed a victory from the jaws of defeat. And in that moment, we were fooled. We were like, we're going to be.
We all took the bait.
Sure
we took it hard.
You guys ready
We
for
have
number
cheese
2?
in our teeth.
Number 2.
Let's see number 2 here, Steve. To quell.
Crazy.
This one's from you. Battle within Browns continue. Browns all bark.
Oh, you know what?
Bite.
Oh, you know what?
What week was that?
Yeah,
This was for
Accurate.
the
Facts.
Bills game.
Facts.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
Browns all bark. No
Not
bite.
within the Browns.
That's facts.
What was
That's pretty accurate. Facts. That's
What was the drama leading up to that week?
Yeah, what was the drama? Why were they infighting?
There was too much to remember. Speaking of infighting, we've given tag board full. This is
much to
breaking news
remember.
at the moment right now from Adam Schefter.
Uh-oh.
Let's take it full real quick. Jadeveon Clowney issued an apology to Myles Garrett. As a son and a parent, I want to fully apologize to anyone I offended, specifically Myles Garrett and his family. My words in the locker room were not only taken out of context, but completely misrepresented. As a man, I have reached out to Myles specifically to apologize. I will continue to learn and grow as I move forward.
You know what that is?
Can we get Mary Kay on the
That's
line?
throwing shade at Mary Kay
he's
right
saving
now.
Grace to come back. He's saving Grace to come back.
That's exactly right.
What it is.
That's exactly what he's doing. What he's doing is his agent told him, Jadeveon, I'm hearing from a lot of teams that they're worried about what kind of teammate you are.
Right.
You better try to make this good. And that's what that is.
Stop with this out of context nonsense. In other words,
And misrepresented. They're your words.
He just basically threw Mary Kay all the way up under the bus.
That's garbage.
And we specifically asked her, in what context did she have that conversation? She said, I was just talking in the locker room. I walked up to him and said, hey, how you doing? And I felt like he was going to tell this to anybody. I was just happened to be the one who asked him what was going on, and he went into it.
Yeah, but you know what? I think he selectively picked her because he knows the cachet she has.
Yep.
And also, look, okay, she may not have asked him anything, but he was ready.
Right.
He had both barrels loaded and
he said
cocked.
what he said.
And he meant
Give me
it.
a break.
And now he's going to backpedal
And fine that
from
he
it.
apologizes to Miles. He should. That's all right. But you don't need to throw Mary Kay under the bus.
But
That's
this
lame.
this public thing here,
Yeah.
that's all because his agent is hearing from teams.
Yep.
They're concerned what kind of teammate you're going to be.
And his production ain't that good.
Right.
So there's a double whammy.
He had 2 sacks.
Two.
Yeah, and it sounds like he didn't really have a really good relationship with Joe Woods. Joe Woods was he was aiming all of that direction towards, and he's no longer there. So now he sees this as an opportunity. Like Jay said, his agent, he had some time to think about it. It's like, the whole
You
back
have a lot of time to think about it, Quill.
lean into it. And it's just like, Joe Woods was your issue. You should have named a name. if you were going to go that route. Now over there, now it's everything is all peaches and cream. I want to apologize and save grace.
He put Myles Garrett's name in his mouth when he shouldn't have.
That was a huge mistake.
And that was a massive mistake. So I mean, it is what it is, but I see right through that. That's too contrived. What's the last
headline? Then we're going to vote.
Hold on. DeQuell wanted to say something.
I was going to say, mark my word, if this offense can play better next year with Deshaun Watson having a full offseason, Myles Garrett, I'm saying it right now, he's going to be up for Defensive Player of the Year. With 16, he finished with 15, 16 sacks. This guy could potentially break the sack record with a good offense next year. If Deshaun Watson, this offense can play up to par.
I hope so.
Yep.
I love that. I hope that happens. All right. Headline number 3 that we're going to vote. This is from our friend, Mr. Jason Lloyd. Take it, Steve. Browns pull out their Chubb. Nick Chubb rushes for 2 TDs in the win.
Yeah, that's the winner. That's the winner.
Gotta go down.
That's the
Sorry.
I like the warning not safe for work.
That's crazy.
You got bumped, DQ. That's the winner.
That's crazy.
Browns pull out their Chubb.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think that's the unanimous winner. Now the other question, and also he was right.
He won on Halloween.
He was right.
He was right.
And they did win by more than 2 touchdowns. So it was both accurate and entertaining
Witty.
and creative. So leave it to the newspaper guy to win that contest.
That's what he does.
It's only half the vote. The YouTube chat is going to be the other 50%.
Trust me, that's
I think
winning.
We're all in agreement.
That's winning.
You know what's amazing?
That's a fan favorite.
Good luck, man.
Wait, before DeQuell goes, DeQuell, give us your picks rapid fire for the playoffs this weekend.
You want me to list off the games?
Want to list off the games?
Yeah, list off the games.
All right, here they are. Now, do you want to pick just straight winners, or do you want to pick with the spread? Okay, straight winners. San Francisco against Seattle.
San Francisco.
Minnesota against the Giants.
Ooh. I'm not a Kirk Cousins fan in crunch time. And
Danny Dimes.
I took
Danny Dimes.
I'm going Giants. I'm
All
going
right,
Giants.
interesting. Dallas at Tampa Bay.
Ooh. You know what? I want to say I'm going with Tampa Bay just so I can witness all the hype and what's going to happen in Dallas and that camp and Jerry Jones and what's going to happen with this year. I'm going with Tampa. I'm going with
all
Tampa.
Right. And then in the AFC, Chargers, Jacksonville.
Chargers for sure.
Buffalo,
Chargers.
Miami.
Buffalo.
Cincinnati, Baltimore.
No tour. Cincinnati. That's an easy one.
I think the AFC games are slam dunks.
Yeah. DeQuell's going to be moving to Thursday starting next week.
Yes. DeQuell, we will see you next Thursday. Hey, let us know how that Maryland thing goes, too.
Yeah,
good luck.
Absolutely.
And enjoy your Hall of Fame induction tonight. That's always a great time.
Tell your boy to check his DMs.
Thanks,
yep, you bet.
All right, I will. I'll make sure he checks them. All right, take care.
Hall of Famer DQ. Appreciate you, man.
There you go.
Hey, look who.
We haven't seen him in a while.
The cat Polk kid.
Guys,
Mike Polk.
I like that he pulled up his own chair.
Let me pull up next to Bull. He's under Bull's wing.
I'm just glad my key card. I'm glad my key card still works.
So here's the reason Mike Polk is here. Mike, every week you do. I don't know about every week, but most weeks you do Brown recaps on Monday.
Yes.
And a lot of times.
For WKYC, the most popular newscast in the greater Cleveland
You
area.
better believe it. What's great about what we're going to go into here is this is a season recap, right?
Right.
You look back on the whole season, set it up, and throw it to the piece.
Sure. Well, our news director, John Atkin, he specifically asked for a season review piece from me. I'm kind of at the point in the season, or I was even at this point, it was before we even played that last beauty of a game. And at that point in the season, I was already sort of like how you're done hearing Christmas music, like on January 26th or December 26th. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Like I don't want to hear it anymore. It was a bad assignment. It wasn't anything that I was looking forward to. So I just tried to find the right angle. That's what you have to do. You got to push through when you're a professional. And here's what I came up with. Now, of course, we could nitpick and grouse about how this Browns season was an embarrassing, icky-feeling, total organizational failure that challenged an already tortured fan base to new levels of inner turmoil and frustration without even paying off our continued allegiance by offering any legitimate signs of real progress. But as part of my New Year's resolution, I have committed myself to seeking out the positive aspects of every situation. And it's with that philosophy in mind that I now offer you positives of this Browns season. Consistency. We got all 17 games in, and for every one of those games, they were there on time. Awe-inspiring feats. Remember all those preseason phone videos of Nick Chubb squatting lots of weight and Myles Garrett jumping on stacks of things? Those are really cool, am I right, everybody? I mean, wow! Counterbalance. Served as a useful reminder of how much we should appreciate our city's two far better run, far less supported playoff caliber teams. Community engagement. Before the season even began, the Browns organization managed to find a way to get the fan base and the entire nation emotionally engaged in the team. For better or worse, everyone was talking about Cleveland. Variety. Even if their D-line never held up this year, their fashion game did. The Browns sported a variety of uniform styles throughout the season, including the rarely worn Color Rush edition, seen here during a freezing cold Christmas Eve home loss to a bad dome team. Sweet vengeance. We finally got revenge on our evil nemesis Baker Mayfield, our plucky former quarterback who led the Browns to their first playoff victory in roughly 30 years a while back, despite his physical limitations. So, boom. Take that, dude. But seriously, best of luck on your journey. Peace of mind. After an admirable performance by Jacoby Brissett to start the season, we finally got to watch Deshaun Watson play the final 6 games, giving us the opportunity to put our minds at ease by confirming that, if nothing else, the turmoil caused by his signing would at least clearly eventually pay off on the field. And now we've seen him, so that's settled. One for the ages. Boy, we sure made some history in that Jets game, didn't we? I know we were on the wrong end of that history, but still, to be up 13 with under 2 minutes to go in your home opener, and then to watch 59-year-old Joe Flacco score twice and win, a feat that hadn't been done since 2001, when it also happened to the Browns. Well, let me just say, speaking as someone who was there, that was really something. Exciting new characters. Sure, it looks like our team probably regressed this year, and we've been given literally no legitimate reason to have faith in this organization as we move forward, but you have to admit, the fan base did get introduced to some pretty hilarious and diverting new characters this season, didn't we? I think we'll always fondly remember the Browns rally skunk, the drunk guy who would not fall down, and that guy who drove his car onto the field, we think maybe because he hated the elf or something. All classics in their own right. So anyways, those are pretty much all of the positives I could come up with regarding this past season, with the exception of this one last affirmation that always gives me comfort. Though indeed, as Browns fans, we seem destined to suffer, at least we do not suffer alone. It's been a long, emotional season, Cleveland. Now let's rest our minds a bit and go Cavaliers. That's my summation.
Yes.
That's beautiful,
That
Mike.
was so well done.
My favorite part was
that
the
is
drunk
right.
guy who would not fall down.
I know.
I love
So Mike Polk's ability to observe things and then make us laugh at them in the face of tragedy. Really, this was tragic.
Sure.
Like, I don't know how you do it, but you always make me feel better about the Browns sucking.
Well, pain comes from pain, or like, you know, you get your art from pain, I guess. And they give us plenty of art to work with here.
Was it therapeutic for you writing that to relive
Like
all
I
of those
said,
torturous events?
It felt like you've seen The Green Mile, right? The movie The Green Mile.
Sure.
Remember when Michael Clark Duncan is vomiting up that black cloud of flies and darkness into the sky? That's what I felt like when I was writing that one out. Side note, that drunk guy that would not fall down, I actually saw like an interview with him sober, and it's the funniest thing.
What did he say about that?
Because he's like kind of still proud of it. He's like, I show my fandom, man. I'm there every week.
The drunk guy?
He's not get it. No, he does not get it. He's just like, I'm glad to have my 15 minutes in the sun.
Who interviewed him? And I'm pissed that we didn't think of
I
it.
can't remember who I saw.
Barstool Cleveland did.
It was Will Burge. It was Will Burge.
Yeah.
That was very smart though. And I love that he found that guy too. And then that guy's like, I'll come on. I like to talk about my work.
I'd like to talk
guy
about
who
my
would not
public
fall down.
display of drunkenness.
By the way, I know G hates the song, but remember when Run DMC and Aerosmith did the collaboration of Walk This Way? I know you hate it, but I'm bringing it up for a reason. I feel like in an oddball way, we need to have Mike Polk and DJ Hazmat do a collaboration.
Oh my God. No, absolutely.
Like, yo, what are you talking
Do you
about?
do collabs? Do you do that kind of thing?
I work well with others. Yeah, I do typically.
I can co-sign that.
Yeah, no, I would
I
like.
don't know what it would be
exactly,
exactly, but I feel like that needs to happen.
He is on the show with a panel of 6 people.
I will say this though, I think that that's just assuming a lot of the DJ. He might not want my help. He might consider that.
To see it happen.
He's like a real pro, and he might consider that immensely
I don't know.
insulting.
Well, Mike's selling himself short. Your Factory of Sadness is worldwide.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly have a great beat to it though.
No,
there's a
but-
difference.
I want to see your bars.
You have plenty of things that do.
Sure.
And also, don't sell yourself short, man. You're like the best. You are the best reporter in Cleveland.
Wow, that's weird. That's a weird thing to say.
No,
weird thing to hear somebody say.
Every year, Mike brings home a collection of Emmys.
Yeah.
Like, not that that's necessarily the measure.
People shouldn't leave them unattended at that ceremony. I make that very clear.
He kicks those people in Toledo's ass.
Exactly.
Hey, no, it's the
You
whole
want some of
Great
this?
Lakes
I'm
region.
kidding.
You want some of this Buffalo?
Bring it.
And the Lower Great Lakes chapter?
Which includes Zanesville.
Screw you, Dayton.
I actually emceed the local Emmys one year. I was never invited back.
Wait, didn't Director Steve direct
Did
it?
you go scorched
Yeah, Director
earth?
Steve. You remember that, Steve? Why wasn't I invited back?
Did you go scorched earth?
They just didn't care for it.
No, Tony Zarella got up and slapped him in the face.
I didn't. Yeah, that's what happened. We haven't spoken since.
Give us an update on the McNuggets comedy nugget.
Hey, I'm ready when you guys are. You guys give me the date and we'll get them out.
Oh,
We'll,
I thought
we'll light it up.
he was
the
going to give us
headliner
the
that
date.
night.
Sure. I mean, I'll
Yeah,
definitely
the
host the
9th.
thing.
Let's do it the 9th.
Right
February
tonight?
9th.
Did you say tonight?
Oh,
yeah, yeah. I was like,
February 9th work?
I will look.
That was
I
one
think
of the
I'll
dates you
prepare.
texted me saying.
I'm sure it's still good though.
Thursday.
Sure.
I gotta
Yeah,
put
he's
on
got to
my
pay his
No, the
dues.
8th. The 8th. Sorry, the 8th. Wednesday.
If for some
Okay.
reason you just stumbled onto this because you were looking for something else and you're like, what are they talking about? Who's Nuggets? Who's that guy? What just? They had a fantasy football league and the loser had to perform for the first time 10 minutes of stand-up comedy on stage in front of a crowd. So and I'm going to host it, and then we're going to bring up Mikey McNuggets, who just edged out Tim Couch. You're welcome, Tim Couch. And I'm sorry.
Too, right? You're going to do a.
Yeah, sure. I'll bring him up.
Anthony's
We're
going to be your
filling that
initial
place.
opener.
We're
Anthony's-
filling that place the night of
Sure.
the 8th or the
It's
9th,
gonna be the
whatever
most
it is.
packed hilarities has ever been on a Wednesday.
Man, I love that this is how they're learning about it. They're like, should we get some people on staff?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So anyways, we're coming for you, Pickwick. Hilarities. We're gonna bring
That'll be
we're gonna
great.
bring the crowd.
The great, the funny, the talented Mike Polk. Thanks, Mike.
Mike
Appreciate it.
Polk
Yeah.
Good to see you.
in the
The only
building.
guy that can make us feel,
That
that
was
can laugh
so
at
funny.
7 and 10.
Mike
Mike,
Polk
just take
in
your
the
chair and
building.
get out. You're good, bro.
Pretty grim around here, guys. Brighten up. Everything's fine.
Love you, Mike.
See ya.
Think about it.
Oh my
7 and 10
gosh.
is miserable, disgusting. It's infuriating. There's nothing funny about it.
No.
Yet when Mike puts together
was funny.
the highs and lows of the season,
Yeah.
and just with his delivery and everything else, we laugh at 7 and 10.
Yes.
I'm trying to find a way to get some picks or something. You ever get, back in the day you used to start working somewhere and then you work there for 3 or 4 weeks, right?
Okay.
And then they give you that 1 week check.
Yeah.
It ain't the 2 week check, it's a 1 week
yeah,
check.
right.
And
You
then
want a hole.
and you like, damn, I got
Damn, I've been stocking these shelves for weeks.
I'm trying to figure out when somebody ain't getting paid. Like somebody not getting paid this week. They'll find out when I find out. It's just it's rock, paper, scissors. But you be trying to think like I need some other stuff. I'm looking at these Browns. I'm like, man, I need some more picks, man. I need some collateral. Because I got all these moves I want to make in my head. Because I see all these holes. I just watched the show yesterday. Yeah, I'm kind of creepy. I was up looking at the show last night.
This show?
Yeah.
You watch it back?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
You was like, G. Bush, they got major holes. There are a lot of holes. And I said, you know what?
I'm not lying.
You wasn't lying, because Clowney obviously sees the same thing.
Sure he does.
And he trying to claw his way back in here. But my bad.
He wanted to put his toe in the water.
He said-
Found out it was frosty.
There's not a lot of things that unite Twitter. The reaction to everyone being like, yo, Mary Kay did not disrupt your words is a full front force right now.
Which is amazing because there's a lot of jerks out there that always crap on Mary Kay.
That's true.
For no
They
reason.
be trying so hard. Like, come on, bro. Like, this is crazy because
Mary Kay's as good as it gets.
He felt like he was going to roll that grenade in the room.
Yeah, I mean.
And then somebody was like, no, I'm going to put the pin on and put it back and give it to you.
To me, it's not. If you blame someone else, then you're not really apologizing. If his words were taken out of context, then what does he have to apologize
And here's
for?
something you never say during an apology. If my words offended you. No. You're apologizing because you're recognizing they did.
Right.
And that's not on them. That's on you. They were your words.
That's where it went south.
Own your words.
All right, let's talk some playoffs, fellas.
Let's do our picks. You want to do that? We're going to go through them in the order in which you texted them, right?
Do you want to do? I think we should do spreads first.
Yeah, absolutely.
I changed a pick after I sent mine to those guys.
Do they know about the change?
Yeah, they do.
We
but
do.
They weren't able to change it on the graphic.
Before we do picks, though, this was something that I wanted to talk about after discussing it, and it's going to lead us right into picks. But we talked about how you don't need your boards yet. Boards for the next segment.
Boards next segment.
I just like hold mine. I just like
Yeah, you
hold
can hold
it.
it.
Can I hold
Passing
it? Up.
We've lost a pen.
But you look at the AFC: Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar if he was healthy, Trevor Lawrence, Herbert. Unbelievable quarterback.
Tua if he were healthy.
Great quarterback.
Yeah.
Tua. Now in the NFC, Steve, let's take the graphic.
Oh, it's abysmal.
Look at these quarterbacks. You have an injured Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
Rookie Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Terrified of primetime Kirk Cousins. Stone Age Tom Brady, who's still Tom Brady. Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, and Geno Smith.
Wow.
Has there ever been a worse collection of quarterbacks in one conference to make the playoffs?
Not in the modern era.
Most of the good
way.
quarterbacks are in the AFC right now. I mean, that's the situation.
They are, but it's just, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a top quarterback from the NFC. He's not in. I would applaud Stafford and Goff more than I would any of these guys. Guys, to his question, this is a quarterback league. We say it a million times.
Well,
By that graphic, the best quarterbacks in the NFC, or the best teams in the NFC, are quarterbacked by these guys. The best one of them is 45.
The problem is that it seems that
Dak Prescott's really good.
the AFC,
Dak's not better than Brady.
The AFC has been more aggressive in securing quality talent as opposed to the NFC.
They have been, yeah.
Now, but those other NFC teams, what you see in those teams those are good teams.
But guys,
the pieces are good. If you look at the teams that made that playoff run, the pieces are
some
good.
of them are. San Francisco's got a great. San Francisco, I think, has the best non-quarterback roster in the league.
No question. I agree with that.
Certainly in the NFC.
Well, Dallas talent isn't bad.
Dallas got a lot of talent.
Dallas, especially on defense.
Philly?
But who's the good quarterback that didn't make the playoffs besides Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah,
That's it.
Aaron Rodgers. He would be definitely the guy.
That's the only one.
Why
He didn't have a good year.
Why are you leaving Watson off?
No, in the NFC.
Well, NFC.
No, I'm just saying, why are you leaving Watson off the list?
What do you mean? The playoffs.
I mean, funny. Here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, there's just not a lot of good. There's not a lot of good quarterbacks.
He is not in my top 10.
The NFC doesn't have many good quarterbacks.
That's it, Jay. Put that on a tweet today.
Jalen Hurts.
I know you're not in my top 10.
He's not.
Jalen Hurts.
I don't think he's
had a
in
great
yours
year. Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFC based on this year.
He's going to win the MVP.
Yeah, I'm still not there
he's
yet.
not going to win the MVP. It's going to be Mahomes.
Mahomes is going to win.
Because Hurts missed the last few games.
Yeah,
Well,
and Mahomes.
Don't they got an NFC Offensive Player of the Year or something?
Yeah.
No, it's just
thought they did.
they don't do AFC, NFC for that.
Yeah, no, it'll be Mahomes. You took
Jefferson
away
will win the player
his
of the
best
offensive player of the year.
wide receiver. You took him away, and his numbers are Patrick Mahomes' numbers. And he still does things in the league that no other quarterback can do.
Yeah.
And
That's
we're
true.
starting to see a lot of guys start throwing from different arm slots. He's made that wildly popular.
Yeah.
Steve Young did that a little bit back in the day, but
The one
Mahomes,
thing I'll
that's his
say,
trademark.
can you bring up that list of NFC quarterbacks again?
Are we going to rank them?
Let's rank them. Yeah, just for
Well,
fun.
'cause
Let's rank
let me
them.
just say this. First of all, Brock Purdy, say what you want. Like, we can't say he's a bad quarterback.
No, we can't. We don't
because
know
the
yet.
only time he's played really well.
He's played very well.
Just because he was drafted late and he had no expectations.
He's not seventh on my list.
Like, if they make a run, he's starting over Trey Lance next year.
Yes, absolutely over Trey Lance.
Trey Lance hasn't proven anything.
No. Trey Lance was abysmal when he played.
Now, they lose in the first round to the Seahawks. Okay, different story, but I don't think that's going to happen. You know, Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott are
rank them for us. What's your 1 through 7?
based on this year.
Like right now.
Yeah. So I don't think you can just do this year. I don't.
You know,
Because we're in the playoffs,
rank
and that
them.
experience
All
means
right.
something.
We're going to go around. Rank them in confidence you have for the playoffs.
all right, I'll say, I mean, I don't have confidence in any of them besides Brady.
That's the
But
point.
I'll say Brady 1, Hurts 2, but I'm going to say Prescott 2 because I think Hurts is hurt. So I'll say Hurts 3. I don't have any. I'll say Purdy 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have confidence.
Okay,
in
that's
either.
really high.
And then Cousins is last, and so I'll say,
Over Smith and Jones?
yeah, I'll say Jones 5. I don't have any faith in Cousins in a big spot.
Wow.
You talk about him personally; he's got better talent around him than those
Right,
guys do.
yeah.
But the question was, who do you got faith in?
Yeah, well, I just thought we were ranking the quarterbacks. I didn't know
Okay.
we were doing it in terms of faith in the
Yeah,
quarterback.
I kind of changed that. In a second.
Yeah, I know,
Okay.
because my criteria was different. You said rank the quarterbacks. Here are mine. Tom Brady won, and it's not an argument. Do you know that in all stages of the quarterback, of the playoffs,
What do you mean it's not an argument?
Not an argument.
I mean, he's been terrible.
he's got 7
No, he
Super
hasn't
Bowl
been
rings.
I ain't talking about
The last 3 weeks?
Are we just talking about the season?
No, everything. Ball of wax. Everything.
You talking in totality.
You can't
Just
just
in the NFC.
You're
Yeah,
talking in
just in the
totality.
NFC, of
You're just
course.
talking in totality.
everything. Tom Brady, the quarterback, versus Jalen Hurts,
I guess
the
you
quarterback.
just factor it in whatever you want to
Here's why I do this. He's played in more playoff games than any other quarterback. He's won more playoff games than any other quarterback. He's won more Super Bowls than anybody
You talking about body
ever.
of work. But
this
year,
here's the deal.
even
But
awful.
none of those other NFC quarterbacks have done anything in the playoffs or haven't been there.
No.
Yeah,
So
it's hard to have
by
faith
the
in any
way,
of them.
like I know that my eyes showed me times this year where Brady was ineffective and missing
awful.
passes. However, the last 2 weeks of the season, when Tom Brady said, "Let me find that playoff switch,"
Why is it that nobody can just say the truth? He's been awful.
No, the last 2 weeks he hasn't.
He hasn't been awful.
Go look at his numbers the last 2 weeks.
I was driving in today and they ran through his numbers. They're awful.
For the season, he was not good.
They're awful.
However, if you look at
Shannon
Brady,
Sharp-
He
Shannon
threw for
Sharp just
almost
killed him
5,000
today.
yards,
I mean, he wasn't
29
awful.
touchdowns and 9
Ranking
Well, so hold on,
18
hold on.
here, 25th
here
here.
are the numbers in a vacuum, okay? If I told you these are Deshaun Watson's numbers next year, you'd do backflips.
Yeah, but-
read them.
He threw for 4,694 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
Dude, that's unreal.
Those are not awful.
Man, so let
He
me
wasn't Tom Brady.
He wasn't Tom Brady, but
when I'm watching these games,
they don't add up to nothing.
When I'm watching them games,
4,500 yards?
The Buccaneers struggled a lot.
They couldn't even score in the red zone.
they did.
Hey, they didn't score enough. I think we're going. Listen, he wasn't awful, but he was not Tom Brady.
Here's a point I want to make about his
He
playoff
was okay.
years.
Yeah.
Jay, final point on
His-
Tom Brady, then we'll get back to ranking
Okay,
quarterbacks and picks.
this
We
is
get on
his
a whole
worst
conversation.
winning percentage in any round of the playoffs. Wild card,
Yeah.
divisional round, championship round, Super Bowl. His worst winning percentage in any of those rounds is the wild card game.
Yeah.
He's 4-2. So his worst round is 667.
He's not. By the way, flaw in the NFL. It's a joke that the Cowboys are the road team in this game.
It is.
It's absurd.
It is.
They should fix that, but they won't. Brady's never been an underdog at home in the playoffs ever.
Ever.
This is the first time
Yep.
ever. It makes no sense, but I actually think the Cowboys are going to win this game.
Cowboys will win this game.
I think
Easy.
the Bucs are going to win. We'll get back our picks in a
Yeah,
second.
go ahead.
I'll quickly run through my rankings. Brady 1, Hurts 2, Prescott, Cousins, Smith, Purdy, Jones. Jones is abysmal, guys.
He's actually been okay.
He's been really
this
good
year.
this year.
He's been better this
He's been
year
good
than
this
at
year.
any
And he's
point
got no
of his
talent
career.
around him, out
He has
wide
been
receiver.
better this year, but I just think
I'm
that
not a believer long term, but he's been all right this year.
Where's my list at? Where's it at? Here, put it back up here.
Yeah.
Because I watch these Buccaneers be playing, and I don't like their offense. They couldn't run the ball. They can't score in the red zone. Brady has been off on more throws than I've ever seen in my lifetime. He has good numbers, but Hurts is number
Part of the reason he's thrown for all his yards is because he's thrown the ball more than any quarterback in the league.
they have no running game, and he
None.
still threw
Yeah.
for 4,500 yards when defenses knew what they were going to do.
Give me Hurts number 1. I gotta have Hurts number 1.
Damn.
Yeah, he has the best supporting cast. He has receivers. They can run the ball. I like their defense.
But I don't know. I'm worried about him being healthy. That's my
Yes.
problem.
Yeah,
with that.
I'm not sure.
Give
Either.
me
We got to
Hurts.
get to picks, so rank
Yeah.
this quick.
Dak Prescott is 2. Then you gonna go give me Purdy at 3.
Oh, I love that you guys are burying Tom
Purdy
Brady.
at 3. At number 4.
Purdy over Brady.
Yeah. Yep. Cousins is then coming in, and then Tom Brady is gonna come in right at I think that's what 6th or 5th. Tom Brady's 5, and then to round out what we're doing, I'm gonna go with Smith and then Jones.
And
All right.
Brad,
Bring up your list so I can hit you off real quick. I'm going to go from bottom to the top.
7 through 1.
Yep. Bring up that list,
it's coming.
please.
Yep.
I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah,
Brady
come on.
like 4 or 5.
All right.
I
So
love it when
bottom of the
everybody
list
buries
is
Tom.
bottom of the list is Jones, followed by Cousins, followed by Smith, followed by Purdy, followed by Brady, Prescott at 2, Hurts at 1. Based on the totality of just this year, I'm not doing the whole body of work. I'm only looking at what I see today, because it changes
Hell,
day by day.
Prescott was hurt much of the year. Wasn't great for a lot of the season.
No, but I tell you what, I looked at Tom Brady. It was awful, right? I couldn't stomach it.
Listen, I hope by your standard that Deshaun Watson's awful next year.
Who's up first against the spread there, Mike?
Jay's first, real
Jay's
quick.
first?
There's 6 games we're picking. We only put 5 on
I've got him on here. I
because
can wrap right through
we
mine.
assumed everyone's going to pick San Francisco, except G picked Seattle. So everyone else has San Francisco except for
Okay.
G. That's not on here. We'll take Jay's board. Let's see it.
All right, yeah, I'm going for San Francisco. These are in different order, aren't they?
No, it's just
You just left San Francisco off because you thought everybody was going to go San Francisco?
we only had 5 lines on the template.
Hell, they're giving 10 points. Okay, I did pick San Francisco. I went with the Chargers. I think they're going to win the game outright. I think Buffalo's going to crush Miami. That's going to be the worst playoff game of the weekend. Minnesota, I thought long and hard about this.
Best game of the weekend.
It is going to be the best game of the week. I mean, it'll be the closest game of the week. I don't know that the football is going to be the best, but I do think that this is where we start to see Kirk Cousins break out of his primetime shell. Cincinnati's going to punish Baltimore, and I've got Tampa Bay beating Dallas outright.
Okay.
So I know that everybody says, "Why? How can Tampa Bay host Dallas?" I've watched Dallas in a couple of games this year, week 16, but couldn't score. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this team?
They better get their running game together. Pollard, give him some touches.
G. Bush, you're up next.
All right, let's roll.
Now, G. Bush is the only one that picks Seattle.
By the way, Mike Holmgren should be fired if the Cowboys don't go to the Super Bowl.
You mean Mike McCarthy?
Him
too. Right.
What did I say?
Mike Holmgren.
Mike Holmgren.
I got Jacksonville.
Both large men named Mike and wear big jackets.
Man,
G. Bush, you're up.
Peterson been doing a heck of a job. I like with Jacksonville. They coming in on a high. Jay is right. They about this could be 20 points. I think Miami about to get that work. I got the Giants. This is an upset special. I think Daniel Jones does just enough. Saquon Barkley gets his money off. A couple of opportunistic touchdowns. I think the Giants win that. Yeah,
that game is in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And that's a tough crowd.
It is.
When they're
They played 3 weeks ago. It was a 3-point game.
I know.
Now,
Playoffs now.
Cincinnati is a landslide, and then the last one, I don't know what the last one was.
Dallas, Tampa Bay.
I got Dallas in this game.
You took Seattle with the points.
And I took Seattle with the points.
You think a win or just cover?
No, cover.
Okay.
That's a cover.
That's a big spread.
A large one.
Yeah.
For
All
two
right, Brad,
and
you're
those
up
teams
next.
know
All
each
right,
other.
let's roll with it. I got San Francisco first, winning. I got Jacksonville. I just like the way Lawrence is looking. I've got Buffalo winning, obviously, because they just got a better team than Miami. I got the Giants winning because Kirk Cousins of Michigan State. That's Kirk Cousins, right? And so Giants coming out on that one. Cincy, Joe Burrow, the old Ohio State Buckeye, leading the way.
400 yards.
Right. It's going to toss it up like nobody's business. And then I got Dallas. Do I have Dallas? Hold on.
Yeah,
I got Dallas. I have Dallas winning against Tampa Bay, right? And I just feel like Tampa Bay has underperformed the whole year. It's going to happen again this weekend.
Tom Brady in the playoffs.
Last but not least, Bull. Let's see it.
All right, I did take. We'll start with the game that's not on there. Obviously, I took the Niners to cover. I actually got Miami, which is an insane pick. I'll admit that. I have no really factual reason to back that up.
Well, they beat them twice.
But Miami always seems to play tough
Buffalo beat
against
them twice.
Buffalo. What's that?
Buffalo beat Miami twice.
No, Miami beat Buffalo.
Miami beat
Miami beat
Buffalo.
Buffalo
Yeah,
week
but
one.
then Buffalo
Or, I
beat
mean,
them the
early in the
second time in the
season.
season.
Right.
Okay.
Miami always seems to play Buffalo well. I know
They
there's
do.
no real reason to pick Miami.
right.
Well, the reason is that huge spread.
That's it. I
Yeah.
just have a hunch the game's going to Buffalo's going to win. I just have a hunch the game's going to be close.
Okay.
It's really just a hunch.
13
The game's going to be closer than expected. We're going to be surprised. There's going to be a moment where we're going to say, could Miami win this game? And then Buffalo will take care of business and put it away.
Okay.
That's the one I'm flip-flopping on. I was going to take the Giants at the last second after I sent in the pick. I'm flip-flopping back to Minnesota, partly because of my NFC Championship pick doesn't make sense if the Giants win. So that's why I flip-flopped there, because I think that game's a toss-up. I think the Chargers are going to comfortably beat Jacksonville. I know Jacksonville's hot, and the Chargers have been a disappointment often. But I think actually the Chargers win that game big. I actually think the Bengals-Ravens game will be closer than expected. In the end, I'll take the Bengals. I think they pull away late. I know the Ravens just won't be able to score much, but the Ravens' defense has played well against the Bengals this year, although I think the Bengals purposely had a vanilla offense last week. However, Bengals' offensive line's a little banged up. And I think Dallas – listen, history tells you Tampa Bay should beat Dallas without a doubt. But before last year, everybody said, well, the Bengals can't win in the playoffs, and they did. Now, unlike the Bengals, Dallas has had the same quarterback here for a while. I just feel like Dallas has so much talent. If they're finally going to get through in a game that a lot of people think they're going to lose, I think it's this one. It's Brady.
It better be this one.
If they don't win this one, I'm firing the coach. But it's not going to surprise me if Tampa wins. But I think Dallas in the end pulls it.
And those are our first-round picks. Bull, we're going to start with you. Go opposite direction here with our championship game and Super Bowl picks, just so it's on the record before we start.
Yeah.
Bull's game doesn't make any sense. We're going to ignore that
Well,
fact.
it does now.
Well, it does now.
He switched
it does
to
now.
Miami.
Because I switched to the
Minnesota.
Vikings.
And let's take
So you
88
got the
Steve.
Vikings going to the NFC Championship?
No, but I have Dallas going to the NFC Championship game. And if the Giants won, then Dallas and San Francisco would play in the second round, so it wouldn't make sense. I was not going to pick the Bengals to win it all. A, because you're going to be a homer. And B, because there's a little part of me that I don't, even though I don't believe in jinxes and curses and all that stuff, was like, I shouldn't pick my own team to win the Super Bowl. But honestly, I think the Bengals are playing better football than anybody else except for maybe San Francisco. And in the end, even though San Francisco's got a better defense than the Bengals do, I don't think it's a huge gap between the two. Both teams have great skill position players. I can't take Brock. I mean, maybe it's crazy to take Brock Purdy to get to the Super Bowl, but at least in the NFC, he doesn't have to beat any very good quarterbacks.
Right.
I can't take Brock Purdy over Joe Burrow when the teams are that close. So in the end, I got the Bengals winning at Buffalo, at Kansas City, and then beating the Niners this year.
Brad, we don't have
Wait,
your
the
graphic.
Niners? I thought you had the Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
He does
I'm sorry.
The Cowboys.
The
Brad,
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Because the
Tell us
Bengals
your
Niners
picks.
would be a repeat.
That's right. I did have the Cowboys. Did you put it?
You have the Cowboys, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cowboys.
the Bengals Niners would be a repeat of like Super Bowl 23 or something
It'd be
like
the
that.
Schwam.
Twice. They played the
Yeah,
Browns twice.
yeah.
All right,
Okay, Brad.
Your
so here I
picks.
go. I've got Cincinnati versus Philadelphia in the finals here, and I've got Cincinnati taking out Philadelphia. I think, although Philadelphia's played great football all year long, there's just something about if you get a chance to get back to the Super Bowl the second time in a row, I think Joe Burrow cashes in on that.
Right.
And I think he lights it up.
Got the weapons, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, G. Bush, you're up next. And we'll pull it up. I know you forget what you sent us this morning. 90. Steve got lost in the sauce here.
G. Bush is waiting to see who he picked.
Yeah. How smart was I? Oh, here we go. That's a nice championship right there. This is old school right here.
Yeah.
This is Steve DeBerg versus Jim Kelly on one side.
That's the two teams Joe Montana played for.
Troy Aikman over here against Steve Young. I'm going to go with
Steve Young over Montana?
recency bias.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to go with Kansas City. I think they're going to do a good job. I think Kansas City will actually, they got a little something over the Bills. But here's the interesting fact over here in the NFC. I think Purdy has a solid chance to beat Kansas City. They mess up in the last series. Patrick Mahomes comes back like he always does. They win the Super Bowl. But Purdy was 4 minutes away from being Super Bowl MVP. What a story we talking about. And we got a question on our hands in San Francisco, but Patrick Mahomes wins the second one.
Well, I like this. We have 3 different Super Bowl winners out of the 4 picks, so that's nice. I'm picking Buffalo, and call me sentimental, but never underestimate the power of the human spirit. And I think DeMar Hamlin has galvanized a team that was already as close as an NFL team as I've ever seen in terms of camaraderie and how much they like each other and play for one another. I think the version of them in the NFC is San Francisco. Kirk Herbstreit, a number of times during the Thursday night game with San Francisco, has said he's never seen a unit play as close as this San Francisco unit has. One of the things he said that really jumped out at me was everybody on this defense gives 110% on every single play because they're afraid what will happen to them by the other 10 players if they take one play off. That, by the way, is a winning formula. So give me the Bills and the Niners in the Super Bowl. I think it'll be an all-time epic classic game. I think the Bills will eke it out and finally win their first Super Bowl after so many defeats, 4 in a row at one point during the 90s. So I think it's going to be a great playoff season after this week. I think this week sucks. I don't love much about this weekend's matchups.
You've been high
but
on
after
Bills.
that,
You've been high on Bills since day one.
I have been high. I picked the Bills to win it at the start of the season, and I'm sticking with it.
And for the record, I got Chiefs over 49ers. Okay, it is time, guys. We spent so much time on the Browns this season. We've been so engulfed into the Browns. We decided in the next 8 minutes before Will Brennan joins us, we're going to run through. It's a 10-question quiz about generic sports stuff that's happened in the last couple of months that we may have missed.
Okay.
We're going to test your knowledge on how much you paid attention to stuff outside of Cleveland.
I hope there's no
And if
college
not-
basketball. I don't know what the hell.
College
We're gonna
basketball
teach you.
start yet?
It's great. Hey, let's take question number 1. Which men's college basketball team is currently ranked number 1 in the country?
Is they giving it away by the picture?
It was Purdue.
You
Well,
guys
no,
have
you gotta
whiteboards
write
to
it
write your
down.
answers, or you can just answer. If you want to write it down, cool. If not,
Yeah.
Okay.
no worries. And remember, we got Will Brennan in 8 minutes, so we got to
we gotta be
pretty
fast.
quickly.
All right.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm going Brockport.
Jay says Gonzaga. Brad,
Boilers.
Gonzaga,
Boilers.
Purdue. Let's see the answer. It is Houston, currently the number 1 team
Good
in
Lord.
America.
Shout out to David.
I guess
Klinger.
Ohio State sucks this year, huh?
I don't think they
The
suck.
women's
No,
team, the women's team's 3. Purdue was
the
number
men.
1 last week, by the way.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
didn't they
talking
lose
about
again yesterday to Minnesota or
they
something?
did.
They might have,
They did.
but
They
I mean,
did.
All right, question number 2.
Yeah.
Who currently leads the NBA in assists per game?
It's not Chris Paul. Better not be.
no, it's not Chris Paul.
It's,
Wow.
Oh,
It seems so easy, but
yeah,
no,
no.
no.
G. Bush says Tyrese Halliburton.
It's a good guess. He's
Ooh,
on my
that is a
fantasy
good
team.
guess.
He's hurt
That
now.
is it.
Shouldn't have done that because I can't write that now.
Director Steve says it's Marco Rubio. Bull, Jay, Brad.
Man.
Halliburton.
Halliburton.
Brad also
Yeah,
says
probably is
Halliburton.
Halliburton, and everybody.
Dikembe Mutombo.
Jay, what's your answer?
Yeah, I would say Halliburton now, but I'm not going to say it because I think it is Halliburton.
If you did say Halliburton, you'd be correct.
Yeah,
It is
but I don't
Tyrese
want to do that because I don't want to cherry pick off.
10.2 assists per
Keep it
game.
moving.
James?
Keep it moving, Mikey.
All right, we will. Number 3. Which NHL team currently leads the league in points and is on pace for a historically successful season?
You still watching it?
Las Vegas.
Great guess. Brad? Whatever you
Columbus.
have it, just throw it up. Columbus. Tampa Bay. 3 wrong answers so far.
Yeah, of yours, of course.
Columbus is dead last for the record.
It's a bad job of marketing.
Devils.
Yeah, Columbus is
0 for 4. It is the Boston Bruins.
I'm almost
Currently
put
on
Boston.
pace for an
Like Boston
historically
doesn't have enough
successful
winners.
season.
All right.
All right.
Question number 4.
The bottom line is we have not been paying attention to anything but the Browns.
Yeah.
It's true.
Who is the consensus top prospect in the upcoming NFL draft? Not who is going to go number 1.
Oh.
Who's the consensus top rated prospect? It's not a quarterback. I'll give you all that.
Damn.
Easy money.
This is easy.
Behold
huh?
yours. If you know, I don't think everyone else knows. Jay, Georgia defensive end,
Yeah.
88 on Georgia.
Yeah. Same guy.
Same dude.
He's a D tackle, but I'll give it to you.
I got Snoop
Snoop
Dogg.
Dogg.
Bulls mailed it in.
Brad, who you got?
Watson.
It is Jalen Carter, number
Carter,
88 on
Jalen
Georgia,
Carter.
the
I couldn't
defensive
remember
tackle.
Yeah, I was like, who's that kid? Yeah. there
Very
you go.
close, very close. Okay, question number 5.
And by the way, he did not impress me against Ohio State.
No, he was tired as hell.
That's why I don't.
He was
Sucking
dominant
it-
against TCU.
sucking air.
Well, of course he was.
Yeah.
TCU's, but
Well, speaking of TCU, let's take the next question. TCU lost 2 games this season. One was to Georgia. Who was the other loss to?
By the way, that guy looks. What's his name? What's his name again?
Max Duggan.
Looks like Steve the Pirate from Dodgeball.
He does.
This is easy. This is my third one getting right.
Jay says Kansas. G says Kansas State.
Utah.
Kansas State.
Kansas State is the right answer.
Damn,
Yes.
Not
State?
Kansas.
Finally.
In the Big 12 championship, Brad's on the board.
3 of them
3 in a row for
things.
G. Bush.
See, when you ask me things steeped in reality,
Yeah.
I'm good.
So far, outside of the leader and assist, I couldn't give a rat's
I'm on the
ass
board
about
for
anything.
2 of them. What are you
You got
talking
2.
about?
Yep. Bull, there's one in here specifically for you.
Okay,
It's
good.
coming.
Spoon-fed.
Number
answer.
6. A UConn basketball team was ranked number 1 at some point this season. Was it the men's team or the women's team?
Come on.
I actually know this answer, I think. Men's.
Yeah.
They both say men's.
It's the men's.
And I don't know how. Shout out to what's his name? What's his? He went to Ali. Is Kevin Ali still there?
No, Kevin Ollie's gone. It is the old guy, Hurley. Dan Hurley, old Utah coach. It was the men's basketball team. Let's see the answer, Steve. Shout out to you guys.
Oh!
To the whole unit, I'm going to give you all, I can't clap and talk in the mic at the same time. I don't have 3 hands, but a little kudos to you guys here. I'm clapping. Yeah, me and Anthony, high five.
Next.
You guys win. Question 7. Which NBA player has the most triple doubles this season? It's 37% more than anyone else in the league.
oh my.
Think I know this one. Think I know it.
Bull, hold your answer for a second.
I'm holding it.
If you're confident. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
G says Luka,
Doncic.
Doncic, Luka. 4 of all the
Jay
same. And
cheated.
guess what?
I did cheat. I actually.
You're all wrong. It's Jokic.
Oh,
Jokic has 19. Luka has 13.
Okay, I'd say
Wow.
Lucas had a lot, but
He has 19 triple doubles.
that's insane.
19
Who
triple
was
doubles
it?
in 42
Yesterday,
games.
someone was saying, Joe
Joe,
was saying,
yeah.
you watch this guy, and he was like, hey, whatever.
That's crazy. That's half the game.
He's averaging 26, 12, and 10 this year.
That's
for
insane.
the record.
Yeah.
And
Good
also,
luck
real
picking
quick, let's say
MVP.
tag board full.
How many more of these
You
do we
mentioned
have?
Max Duggan looks like the Pirate. He really does look like the
Told
Pirate.
ya.
Great catch, Bull.
I told
Great
you,
catch.
Steve the Pirate.
Okay, question number
Aye, aye.
8. What club team do Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar all
Oh,
play
yeah.
for?
I got you, baby. Got you, baby. Got you. And they ain't going to have it. They not going to have it.
Don't show it.
Yeah, Brad, you go last.
Don't show
you
it.
last year.
It's either one or two. I would say this.
Barcelona.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Manchester
Barcelona.
United.
You guys are all wrong. Let's see if Brad's right.
Makai.
Oh, my old team. PSG,
That
baby.
is
Wait, how do you
Come
know
on,
about that?
That is correct.
PSG.
PSG, baby, Brad.
Wow.
Way to go.
Park
I didn't
it
picture
Bronx.
Brad as the international soccer guy, but
Next up.
shout out to Brad.
Out of time.
Bull, if you don't know this one, I'll be very upset.
Okay.
Let's go. Dansby Swanson signed a $177 million contract this offseason with what team?
Oh God.
Hell, I don't know that.
It's a big deal. It's
No,
more
I
than
remember.
$200 million
All right.
deal.
Pipe down, will you?
Somebody, a big market team with a little bag.
Jay? Braves, Phillies,
Padres.
Padres.
Start with the Cubs.
Oh my
That's why I was
God.
spoon-fed for Bull. I said he
Why
has
did
to
you
know one.
say that? I thought you gave it away when you said I should know it.
Because listen, I know these guys. I could give anything away. They're not going to
Wow.
pick up on it.
He was. It was either the Cubs or the Braves, right?
Probably.
That he was
It
going
is
to come
true.
down.
It came
Yeah.
down to those two.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. And hopefully Will join us in a
His
second.
wife plays in Chicago for a soccer team.
Which
Oh,
former Daytona
nice.
500 champion with 60 career NASCAR wins recently retired? Shout out to Earl for this.
What's up with Earl being into NASCAR? That's weird.
Earl loves the thumbnail for this is
Bro, Brad Doherty's black. He loves NASCAR.
I know. It's still weird.
Come on now.
In the
It's up.
South is a
so
staple.
who is it? Who just retired? It happened yesterday.
I didn't see this.
No one saw this.
Besides Earl. Earl brought this to
I
our
know it.
attention.
I know it.
I'm just making up stuff.
Brad, if you're making up, I want to see Hamlin. It's a good guess.
Dick Pole?
Dick Pole is not correct.
Oh, I meant Dick Trickle. Sorry. Dick Trickle?
It is not Dick Trickle. It's not Jimmy. It's not Speed Racer. It is Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick retired. He was the driver that took over the number
Dale
3
Earnhardt.
car after
Correct.
Dale Earnhardt was
Correct.
killed
Is
at Daytona.
Isn't he a sports announcer?
Kevin Harvick?
No,
That's
it's
Kevin
that's
Harlan. Harlan.
Oh, Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick.
Is that it?
I never heard
That
that.
is it, guys. So
That was
now
fun.
that season's over, we're gonna immerse ourselves in a little more. We're still waiting on Will Brennan, so let me give you guys a little update on what's going on. As always, we are doing overtime content. Today's overtime content: Guardians stadium renovations. I know Brad wants to get into that. We have two different tiers for $1.99 a month, less than $2 a month. You can be part of the starters tier. We are one member away from unlocking Happy Jason. And listen. We gave you Constipated Jason last time. Now you get Happy Jason. I think Happy Jason really is Constipated Jason. He's in his happy place when he's constipated. But that is for $1.99 a month. For $4.99 a month, you become a Coaches Tier member. And we got some exciting new news with the Coaches Tier members. Not only do you get the discounted codes for merch, not only get the overtime videos and shout-outs and everything you get with the starters tier, we're also opening up a text line where you can text us questions throughout the week. And throughout the week, when we have time, we're going to get to those questions and answer. It's virtually like being best friends with me, Jay, G, Brad, Bull. We're going to organize one person a week. We'll be in charge of the text line. I'm up first to test it out because there's always technical difficulties with things, but we're going to nail it. So if you go on the community tab, under the coaches tab, coaches tier member, there's a post up with how to send questions. And sometime next week, I'm going to go through them and answer all your questions. If you want the dirt on Bull, if you want to know who the Browns should sign, you can ask anything but politics. We're not going to answer any politics questions. Everything else is fair game. And you can directly text us, and we're going to get a direct answer. So that is now part of your Coaches Tier membership for at least 1 week, as long as technical difficulties don't screw us. It'll be part of it moving forward as well.
By the way, Brandon Staley, who should probably be fired, finally got the Chargers to the playoffs. Last week in a meaningless game for the Chargers, played Mike Williams.
Ridiculous.
Mike Williams just got ruled out for the game.
Ridiculous.
He got hurt.
He is going
Why
to get
would
fired
he
by
play
the way
his
this year.
starters in that game?
He is going to get fired because
Unless they make a run.
They've got to win multiple games. Like if not just the first round game, they need to win and make it to the AFC Championship game. Or in my mind, he's the wrong guy for the job.
It was the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I'm like, he's gonna be smarter than everybody else. I'm gonna just play him.
Tampa Bay had a meaningless game. They played Tom Brady. They played Evans.
Their center got hurt, though. Tampa Bay center
I
got
mean, it happens.
It's stupid.
But here,
It's stupid, but
Brady played last week?
You have to play the
Yeah,
you have
Brady
to play
played
you have to play the odds and
He
percentages.
only played
That's
a
what
little
you
bit,
have
but
to
he
do.
played.
Okay.
You have to play the odds and the percentages, right?
They begged him not to play
Right.
at all.
Risk to reward. That's what this is, right? So very little reward for your risk that you took.
How many years has Staley been there?
3?
Third year. This is his third year.
What did he do last year?
No, last year was an all-time epic fail. Last
didn't go
year
to the
he
playoffs.
missed the playoffs
We
because
got
he
Will
missed playing the
Brennan,
last
guys.
2 minutes of the game. Remember what happened? He thought, hey, a
Mike,
tie's
you wanna bring him in?
going to get us in.
Let's bring him in. Yeah. What's up, Will? How you doing, man? Thanks for making your
Hey, how we-
UCSS debut.
He's in his car. I love it.
How we doing, guys? Sorry. I
Where
just
are
got
you
done
right
with
now,
workout,
Will?
so-
Where are you?
I'm back home. I'm in Kansas City. I just finished up a workout, so I'm in my car. I'm not driving though. Don't worry.
And he's coming to Cleveland for the what do they call it? The Cleveland
Guardsfest. Guardsfest.
Yeah, Guardsfest.
Bro, you kind of sport the Mahomes.
That's the
Are you a
Mahomes
huge
hair.
Chiefs fan?
I'm a big Chiefs fan. I am.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That's okay to say that.
I don't
mean,
know
you're
if
from
I-
KC.
I know. I don't know if I sport the Mahomes. You know, he obviously kind of is his own thing. So I'm just rocking whatever this is. You know.
Hey, Will, last year, I mean, it's crazy. You get called up to the big leagues, like, right at the end of the year. And, like, there's some guys that never go to the playoffs, that never play in the playoffs. Now, there's going to be less of that with 6 teams making the playoffs in each league. But there are guys, great players, who have never played in the playoffs or wait years and years. And you'd been in the big leagues for, like, 2 seconds, and now you're playing in the playoffs. What was that like?
Man, it was a dream come true. You know, I was very fortunate enough that, you know, Tito had given me that opportunity. The front office gave me that opportunity, and I'll, you know, I'm always gonna thank them for that. But it was unbelievable. You know, I tell people that it's like playing like in a football game with 50,000 people. If you've ever been down on a you know, college football field, a NFL field, that's what the atmosphere was like. But it's unbelievable, you know, for us to make that run, and we're going to be able to make that run in the years to come. So.
Well, before I ask this next question, I'm going to need you to take a big, big drink of truth serum, okay? I want you to answer this as honestly as you can. Don't give me the jock speak. No, I wasn't nervous at all. For all of the home playoff games, I was sitting in the dugout suite, which is right next to the on-deck circle. So literally,
He's a big shot. He's a big shot.
I know big shots. Yeah. I'm not a big shot, but I know one.
He got the bag.
Bro, I'm literally 5 feet away from every Guardians player when they're in the on-deck circle. And I'm sitting in there, and I'm looking at your eyes because I told everyone in there, I'm like, I bet this kid's shaking in his shoes. I mean, he's been, like Bull said, he's been up for 5 minutes. And he's now, and it wasn't just the playoff series, and I'm not just talking about the Rays, even the Yankees. You were hitting in massive spots, like game-changing opportunity positions. And I'm looking at you, and I'm like, either this guy has the absolute best poker face, or there isn't a shred of nerves going on, because it looked like you were in the on-deck circle of a family softball game. 1 to 10, 10 being completely nerved out, 1, no big deal. Where were you in those moments?
You know, I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably like a 6 or 7. I was nervous. Wow. I'm not going to lie to you. But it's just it's the game that I've been playing forever. You know, you've prepared to be in those spots, in those situations. There's some times where you do feel like that, you know, the lights are on and nobody's home. So it just feels like, you know, a vessel is just walking and you're just kind of in that body. But no, I don't know. I just think I've prepared so well, and, you know, they obviously trust me enough to put me in that spot and try to take advantage of it. You know, Garrett Cole obviously got the better of me a couple times, and I won't forget about that. But yeah, no, it was nerve-wracking. I've been playing a lot of poker, though, trying to work on it. So hopefully the nerves go down to about a 2 or 3.
And in fairness to you, Will, Garrett Cole's gotten the better of a lot of hitters over the years.
Yeah.
So he's been in leagues, and you'll get your opportunities. You'll get a chance to face him again. You know, that I want to go back to the Rays game. Well, 2 games really. The Rays game where you win in the walk-off to move on to the Yankees, and then of course the Yankee game where you guys come back late. I remember we did a post-game show after that game, and we're like freaking out as fans. What those 2 games in particular that you win? What was that like in the moment you win, and then in the locker room after that?
Gosh, I don't know, just the dugout and just that team that we had is way too much fun. And so to go through the marathon 15-inning game, Oscar sends us to ALDS with a homer. Like it couldn't have been written better. You know, it couldn't have been a better script. But the locker room celly afterwards was fantastic. I remember chasing Miles around with a champagne bottle, and I ran into like a TV stand that had been covered up. I didn't see it, and my legs all bloody, and I didn't even care. I couldn't even care. Getting champagne in my wound, it didn't even matter. But it was just what an awesome time with that team. And again, years to come, it's going to happen. And then that Yankee game, I don't know, you kind of in the dugout or even in the stands, you kind of just feel like you're not going to lose that game. You know, you feel like something's going to happen. The Guardian way of like stringing hits together, all like weird scrappy singles. That's like Bob Costas up there, you know, like all pissed off because it's a single. It's not and you know, and it's like they're trashing us, and you can tell that, you know, they want the Yankees to win. That's fine, but you know, we come back and win that game and set us up for Game 5, and obviously it didn't work out, but you know, we were in that situation, so it was a growing moment for a lot of us, and I tell you what, it's going to pay off.
No doubt. You know, Will, I feel like, you know, obviously there's some rule changes this year. We got the pitch clock now, which will help the hitters, I would think, keep more of a rhythm, I think. Also, though, the banning of the shift. Now, in my mind, and I'm curious about this, I think this benefits your team more than any team in baseball because you guys are a bunch of, you know, you don't have a bunch of guys hitting a million home runs on this team, and you profile like the rest of this team. You're a guy who puts the ball in play, you get on base, you get a lot of hits. I mean, the whole team pretty much, outside of now Zunino now, you know, but most of the team is kind of built that way. I feel like the ban on the shift will help you guys maybe more than any other team. Do you feel that way?
No, I agree. You know, you're going to open up a lot of different holes for guys that use the whole field. You're 100% correct. And also just the fact that, you know, we had 16 guys make their debuts, however many position players, but we all played with these rules. Yeah. So we all played with the bigger bases. We all played with the pickoff rule. We all played with the pitch clock. Like we were all kind of used to that through, you know, several hundred at bats. And so, you know, I think it's only going to benefit us. Obviously, we're going to help all the vets. We'll get them through it. Don't worry. Then they'll figure it out. They're all special players.
Oh, shit. Well, this is the most important question of the day. As you may not know, I have the most authentic Cleveland gear of anybody in the building, anybody in the city limits, 440-216. The only person that has more Guardians gear than me is Jay, unfortunately, and Tito. I need to understand, because I got to get the authentic jersey this year, I need to understand which one am I invested in. Is it the away grays? Is it the good old white ones? Or we didn't cut it all the way off?
There he goes. Hold on.
Or sorry about that.
Oh, no, that was on us, I think.
That was, I think that was McNuggets. So away grays, the home whites, or the red uniform. Which one do you co-sign?
Man, I've seen pictures. The reds look really good, but those home whites are so clean. And then right. I think I would go with the home whites. They're, I don't know. And especially, I'm pretty sure those might. I think those say Guardians on it. You guys might, you know, roast me on that. I don't know. Yeah. But I would get that one. I get the one that, I'll get the home whites.
I think you can't go wrong with the white or the red. One last question before we play Know Your Teammate. I read this morning that in all AAA parks for 2023, they're going with the electronic strike zone, which probably means if it goes well, it's coming to the big leagues. I want your thoughts on that.
I just saw that too. I don't know. They ran it in the fall league, and I hit with a couple guys that play in the fall league, and they seem to like it. They seem to like if something you feel is wrong, you can challenge it. I don't know how you can challenge a robot, but you know, I don't know. I don't know. I think obviously it's all about pace of play and you know, getting it right. And I think a lot of guys are going to appreciate the getting it right aspect. So okay. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's going to be a big adjustment, just like all this is. And, you know, we're just going to have to roll with it. You know, there's no other way around it.
I'm for it. I do think it will speed games up, and I do think it takes away the little arguments about whether pitches and
balls. And Will, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't your birthday coming up in early February, or do I have that wrong?
Yeah, February 2nd, Groundhog's Day.
Oh, nice.
So what do? You got some big plans for the birthday this year?
No, my college roommate's getting married a couple days after, so I'll be flying on my birthday back home.
Is it true that if you see your shadow, you hit 330? If you don't, you hit below 330?
Yeah. I think that's true. I hope I don't get scared of my shadow and go back into a hole. So
that's right. All right.
Well, we're going to play Know Your Teammate. So here's McNuggets, our producer, to tell you how it works. Go ahead, Mikey.
Yeah, what's up, Will? Thanks for joining us. I dug through the depths of Guardians and MLB.com to find some fun facts about your teammates. And I actually talked to one of your teammates this morning. I don't have a graphic for it, but I got something I got to ask you about at the end. So we're going to ask the panel first, then you're going to tell us if you know, and then I'll tell you the right answer.
We need fun music for this, don't we?
You want some fun music?
Yeah.
Steve, let's play the fun music. It's not really that fun. It's the best we got in the system.
All right.
Steve, let's take the first one. Will, you're going to go last. Just mind you going last. Which one of Will's teammates lives on a farm? Panel, you're up first.
Oh,
Quick.
lives on a farm.
Oh, wow.
Quick.
It's not coming to me.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Who would live on a farm?
Let's go Miles Straw.
Curtis Danberg confirmed, by the way.
Let's go Miles Straw.
I have no idea.
Will, do you know the answer?
Is it Sandlin?
It is not Sandlin. According to Curtis Danberg, who is the favorite person on this show that's never been on the show, it is Emmanuel Clase.
Wow.
Lives on a farm?
Clase living on a farm.
G's like, wait, there's no brothers
he
live on
was
farms?
playing catch. He was playing catch with De Los Santos over cows. So yeah, I did see that actually.
Hey, you pitch like he pitches. You can live wherever the hell you want.
Yeah, that's true. I don't care where the hell he lives. Just keep
No
closing
doubt.
out games. Number two.
Number two. Which one of Will's teammates is an artist during their downtime?
Ooh, which one is an
I'm going to go with Jose.
And this is, once again, this is according to Curtis. He may not be a good artist, but this is according to Curtis.
Remember when they had the team kind of mascot that they made out of a baseball?
Yeah.
Wasn't Jose Ramirez kind of leading the charge on that whole thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just think he has an artistic side.
I'm going to say
Quick.
Will Benson.
Oh. Well, no, because it's Know Your Teammate. I mean, we're not going to ask a question about himself.
No,
Will Brennan. I said Will Benson.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Will, what do you think?
Hey, they confuse us all the time. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Will, what's your answer?
I was gonna go with Benson as well.
Wow.
0 for 2. It is infielder Andres Jimenez.
Oh.
Wow, an artist.
Andres Jimenez.
Will's laughing. He's like, so you don't see that? You don't see him being the artistic type?
I was up for 15 minutes. I didn't get to ask him about artsy stuff.
I'm keeping my head down.
All right, question number 4. Which one of your teammates won the bronze medal in the U18 World Cup?
Is that soccer?
This is what Curtis sent me, so no, not
No,
soccer.
it's Oscar Gonzalez.
Oscar Gonzalez, a good guess?
I'll go with Jay.
I think Benson won gold. I thought USA won gold, so I'm gonna go with Oscar Gonzalez is a good.
I'll go Aaron Savale.
You guys, it's rough out here to be a Guardian right now. The correct answer is Josh Naylor.
Oh, for Canada.
Right.
Yep, that's right.
Canada.
That's right. Damn it.
And then, Will, I have one more thing. This is from one of your teammates, so if it's incorrect, blame your teammates. But I heard at Tristan McKenzie's birthday party, you walked in with your own chessboard, and you and Stephen Kwan sat in the corner and played chess while everyone else had fun. Is that true?
That is not me. That was probably Benson.
Come on now.
He says you got the wrong.
I'm not gonna reveal my source, but that was from one of your teammates.
You got the wrong guy.
I didn't go to Tristan McKenzie's birthday. That wasn't me. I wasn't invited.
Him. By the way, Will, I know you spent time in the New York Penn League playing for the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, right? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now,
yeah.
I spent 3 years in the New York Penn League doing play-by-play, so I know some of the crappy hotels you stay in, riding the buses, all that crap. But there was some when I was doing Phillies minor leagues back in the day. Marlon Byrd played there, Ryan Howard played there. We would come to town. There were some crazy parties in some of those bars in Mahoning Valley. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on there. Did you avoid to stay out of trouble your entire time in Mahoning Valley?
You know, I tried to stay out of trouble, but Youngstown it's a great town. You gotta go.
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta experience all those little towns. You know,
That's right.
Binghamton, New York, even in Double-A, all those little boomer towns, they're fantastic. So sleepers, they're sleepers.
Life is about experiences. So we got about a minute and a half. What are you doing now to be better next season? It looks like you're either getting ready to go hit or do something right now. What are you working on?
I already finished up, so I'm about to go catch a flight. But I'm working on just all my weaknesses. I'm going to work on trying to hit high fastballs. I'm going to continue to be able to hammer breaking balls, but I'm going to work on my weaknesses. I'm going to try and get a little faster. Everyone kind of roasts me for being a little slow. So I'm going to do that and then, roll into spring training. I'm going to go a couple weeks early, try and get a head start and get rolling. I know that we're going to have some good competition within the team, and it's going to be just great to see everybody. So it'll be fun. It'll be a good spring rolling into the big time season. So.
Last thing before you go, I know you pitched in college as well. How hard can you throw, and could you get on the mound if you had to in the big leagues?
I was clocked up to 94 against Texas. I was closing, and then I don't know if that was a hot gun or not. But yeah, I would absolutely love to get on the mound in the big leagues. Give me a shot.
Will, best of luck in spring training, man. We really appreciate you
Thank you so much, Will.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Y'all. Thanks for having me.
Next weekend.
Yeah, next Saturday, Will be at Guardsfest here in downtown Cleveland. Tickets are $15 for general admission if you're season ticket holder.
Come on down. This team's awesome.
Yes, let's go out and support these guys for crying out loud.
Thanks, Will.
Will, great sport, man.
Appreciate y'all.
Yep, we'll see you next Saturday. He's kind of the epitome of what this team is.
Yeah,
young, excited, and ready to go.
Singles hitters.
Let's go.
Let's go, Guardians.